Welcome to TTMCast, your sports collectibles podcast with Jeff Baker and Drew Pelto. Sponsored by CGC Cards, card grading all in one place. CGC Cards is devoted to expert grading of collectible cards, including TCGs, sports cards, and non-sports cards. And by SportsCollectorsDaily.com. If it happens in the hobby, you'll find it on SportsCollectorsDaily.com. And sponsored by GemRate.com. The latest grading statistic from the 4 major grading companies is just a click away. Visit GemRate.com. It's free. Sponsored by Collects, the free app for scanning and valuing your cards. Use the app to build your collection and buy and sell with other collectors. Turn the hobby into your side hustle. And now, here's our host, Jeff Baker.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to TTMcast, your sports collectibles podcast. What do we talk about, Drew?
Everything in the world of sports collectibles. You name it, it's going to be on the list.
That's right. We talk TTM, we talk cards, we talk autographs, we talk collectibles, and even food stuff sometimes, and movie stuff sometimes, and all sorts of other cool stuff, and anything that pops into my silly brain, right?
Yep.
That's right. We are season 5, episode 37. It is September 16th. We're halfway through September, and you're listening to the nationally ranked sports podcast. My name's Jeff Baker, talking to you from Boston, Massachusetts, and we're talking with Drew Pelto on the other end of the line. He is from Arlington, Texas. He is on YouTube. He just posted a new video, so make sure you check that out. DFW Grapher. He is DFW Grapher on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. And he is on YouTube as well as Instagram, so make sure you follow him. I don't know why, Drew. I'm all frazzled this morning.
It happens. I mean, I'm a little bit the same now. I'm just kind of a little sluggish right now. I haven't had my coffee yet, and I was up until, 1:32 out of the last 3 nights, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just I get focused. I'm kind of all over the place. I had a kind of slow week collection-wise. I didn't really buy anything. I didn't send out didn't buy anything on eBay, and it was just kind of a quiet week. I got a couple returns, so actually went out to Amherst yesterday to visit my daughter, which was nice. She's at UMass Amherst, so we went out to lunch with her, and it was kind of nice to be on campus with all the kids running around, because every time we've been there, it's been kind of when there's no kids around. So the campus was kind of buzzing, which was nice, and we took her out to lunch, and I went to UMass. I'm a UMass grad, class of 1987, and
Nice.
it I don't know if you've been back to your alma mater, but it's kind of weird to go back because nothing is the same and everything is the same, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I did, when I was up in Boston, actually, last year, I went by Emerson, because it's like, all right, you know what? I'd show my friend Aaron there, hey, here's where I went to school, and I mean, the great thing with Emerson is it's in the middle of downtown. You can't change a whole ton of stuff from there over the last, 20 years or so. But I also look at, there's oh my God, what happened to Dunkin' Donuts that used to be there? Whoa, the dining hall looks different from here. There's all sorts of stuff that, the small stuff has changed. The big stuff's all the buildings are exactly the same, but the smaller things, it's whoa, okay, this is different. Wow. Yep.
Yeah, it's like all my old hangouts are all gone. There's nothing, but all the buildings are the same, and it looks like you plot me down anywhere at UMass, I can get there. And my wife's cousin's kid goes to UMass, so he's a freshman, so he's been there for 2 weeks, and he was homesick. He's been a little homesick, so we took him out to lunch as well. And he actually lives in the same dorm that I lived in my freshman year. So
nice.
I lived on the 20th floor. He lives on the 2nd floor, but my wife is like, I don't know what Kennedy is. Like, I know exactly where Kennedy is. I live there. So it's kind of funny. We drove by Campus Pizza and all the kind of all through campus and around. It was fun.
Nice.
It was a nice time. So other than that, and I said I have 4 interviews scheduled for next week that I set up for our show. So we got all sorts of cool guests coming on. No athletes, but all kind of cool collectors and people who are in the hobby. And I'm looking forward to it'll be a busy week doing interviews next week. And then the following week, I'm going to see the Red Sox on the 27th, which I believe is Wednesday. So I'm not sure who's going to be signing on Autograph Alley. They didn't have something up yet, but hopefully someone will be there. And that'll close out the Red Sox season, thankfully.
Yeah.
All right. We got to end this baseball season already.
Yeah.
How I know you went to 2 Pearl Jam shows this week, so why don't you give us your review of the shows,
Oh
your
man.
thoughts, and I
Yeah.
know you actually picked up some swag.
I did, yeah. So I'll start with they played. I went to both Wednesday night and Friday night, and Wednesday night they ended up playing. Yeah, it was their
Did they play
Wednesday night
Thursday
was
as well, Drew, or no? They only
no
played.
nothing Thursday, the day off in between there, which
Okay,
is
good.
good because they needed that.
Yeah.
They needed that. I'll get to that here in a minute here, but yeah, over 2 nights, 50 songs. They only duplicated 2 of them, so that's
Wow.
nice variety of stuff there. So 48 different songs. That means over 2 nights. But Wednesday night, it was their longest show of the tour in terms of just sheer number of songs. They did 27 songs total there. Last night's one was 23 songs. So, but yeah, I mean, it was still really good because Wednesday night, the one song I've been waiting to hear them play for years. They played as the closer on Friday night. So,
Oh, that must be
they,
you must be excited to do that one.
yeah, that they made me wait for it, but yeah, it was definitely worth it. But I'll show off the stuff I got, or mention stuff I got here first, and you can see it at least. But I got the T-shirt here for one
Nice.
of the tour shirts.
Don't you hate when one of your favorite songs is not one of their like popular songs, and you're kind of like, I don't know if they're gonna play this one or not.
Yeah, the good thing is though with this one, I know they were closing every other show with it. It seemed like so it's like if they didn't play it night 1, they'd play it night 2. So I
So
knew
you
it
got
was coming.
it's a for our listeners, it's a black T-shirt with a white Pearl Jam logo on it. And what's it? Do you have the concert dates on the back of it or no?
Yeah, the back has the same logo as on the front here. It's actually kind of like almost like an olive green shirt, basically. There, and the
Okay.
logo's in yellow and white. And in the back, yeah, it has all of the it has all the locations. It doesn't have the exact dates on it. I think it has the dates of the full tour and then just each city they play. This is a fairly short tour. They're only doing what was it? It's going to be 9 shows across 5 cities, and one of the shows ended up getting canceled, which I'm going to mention here in a second. But so yeah, I got the shirt. I got they did so one of the big things with Pearl Jam, and I've never seen another band that does this. They do several different pieces for each individual show. Because I mean, sometimes you'll see like they'll do like a poster for each show or something like that. They go above and beyond. They have a poster for each show. They have a pin for every show. They did a special item for each different city. So like in Minnesota, they did a hockey jersey that was in like a Minnesota Fighting Saints theme.
Nice.
In Chicago, they did one that was in a Blackhawks theme. For the Indianapolis show that got canceled, they did a checkered flag because Indy Raceway. And for Fort Worth, they did a bandana, which I wasn't really a big fan of the bandana at all.
Did you get a pin? I know you're a pin guy. Did you get a pin for the show?
I did. Yes, I missed the Wednesday pin, but I did get pick up a couple of the Friday ones there. So I figure I can trade one of them if I can find somebody who has an extra one of Wednesday or something.
Oh, nice.
So,
very cool.
I've got a few of those. They also did a license plate for every single show, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. Because I mean, I've built a guitar with a license plate resonator on it, so I'm like, okay, I've got to get a couple of these license plates and hopefully build a guitar for each of them. And so they did Texas plate right there.
How many did you get? A couple of them?
Yeah, I got 2 of each one. So
good.
Got one for the Wednesday show and then one for the Friday show as well.
Oh, so nice. The guys, just Drew's holding this stuff up, so you're not seeing it, but it's cool Texas license plate with the PRL Jam as the license plate numbers, and they're very nice. I guess they must have replicated the Texas license plates, right?
Yeah, it's the exact style. The only thing they changed was like in the logo in the middle to keep it from being like a blatant counterfeit or something there. But yeah, the middle of the one for Wednesday has a longhorn skull in the middle of it instead of the Texas just Lone Star, and then the Friday one has this kind of bandit cowgirl in the middle of it instead of the Texas Star there. So
you got really 2 of each, two that you can put up in your wall someplace to save them, and then 2 to make guitars with.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to try to do a guitar out of one of each there. Because I saw a couple cool designs online for building the guitars. And I'm like, okay, I can easily do. If I can find somebody who can help me with the metal working on it, then yeah, I've got some ideas I can go with those. So yeah, I got all of those. But yeah, I mean, they played pretty much any Pearl Jam big hit that you can name. They definitely played it there. Plus a lot of kind of middle stuff. They play a lot at shows, but never.
Did they play any cover stuff? Did they cover anything?
They did, yeah, 3 covers total. They did Baba O'Reilly by The Who on Wednesday night, which is one they do a cover of a lot. Friday night, Eddie played I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty solo.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Cover. And then their second to last one was Rockin' in the Free World by Neil Young.
Oh, wow.
They've been doing that one, since the early 90s or so. I mean, if I remember right, like 1994 on MTV, they played it live with Neil Young on New Year's Eve. And ever since then, they've been playing it at like at least once a week, it seems like, for any of their tours and stuff. But yeah, the only songs they duplicated were Even Flow and Alive, and I mean, you could play those for me every single day, and I'm not going to complain in the slightest at all.
How was the
But
crowd? How was it a raucous crowd, or was it
it
kind of
was, yeah,
a
pretty
smooth
good. I
crowd?
mean, it wasn't too crazy or anything, but I mean, the arena was full both nights. Like I said, it's a smaller arena, so I mean, even sitting in the second to last row off on the side of the upper deck on last night, it still was not a bad seat at all. So good crowd and everything, full
Was it good?
house.
Was it a good people watching crowd?
It was, yeah. And I mean, talking to some of the people before it too, it's like you'd have fans that were local ones that, were right there in Fort Worth, Arlington, Dallas, whatever. And then you had some of them that were traveling all over the place. Like there was one guy that I talked to before Wednesday's show who was from Indianapolis. And he had been to every show on this tour. He went up to Minnesota for the 2 in St. Paul. He went down to Chicago for the 2. He was going to go to the one in Indianapolis that got canceled, and then came down to the 2 in Fort Worth, the 2 in Austin. Then he was flying back up from Austin there and just working from his hotel room as much as he could on the road there. But
Must be nice
yeah.
to have all the time in the funds to do that, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, this dude had said he had been to London to see them, to Amsterdam to see them. It's, yeah, I mean, some of the people that do this, I mean, they're just crazy how much travel they do to put in for these shows. But yeah, they had to cancel the Indianapolis one because they just said due to illness. They didn't say specifically what was going on. But they came and did the Wednesday show, and like 2 songs in, Eddie says, we're gonna have to do this show a little bit differently here tonight because yeah, we had some illnesses there. He was coming off of the flu, and drummer Matt Cameron had COVID.
Oh wow.
So that really messed things up, but they were able to, I mean, their Wednesday show was, I'll just put it this way. There's a guy on the Pearl Jam forums who said that he'd been to every single show of this tour and been to over 100 shows in his lifetime. And he said that this was the best show they put on in 10 years on
Wow.
Wednesday night.
That's
So it's like, all
awesome.
right, I was happy to see that one. And so, yeah, I'm going to have more about that in my stamp of approval, but that's, just a nice little rundown right there of everything. And yeah, I mean, they finished with Yellow Ledbetter on Friday night. It's like, all right, good. That's what I was hoping for, was that one. So
Are you done with minor league graphing? You got any more games going?
yeah, that's the end of the season. I might do one more Rangers game because my friend Aubrey was saying that she wanted to go to possibly the last game of the year. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I might go out there and try and see if I can get anybody pregame for whoever they're playing against there. But
Did they do anything
yeah,
special? Did they do anything special at last game of the year?
nothing major. They have their fan appreciation weekend, but it's not like it used to be where they have all sorts of giveaways all throughout the game and stuff. I'm sure they'll come with something for it, especially since, I mean, the way the Rangers are crapping everything out right now, it's like they might have a chance. I know last night the Guardians absolutely slaughtered them, so that's a lot of fun. But that's revenge for Tanner Scheppers and his claim in 2013 of getting jumped by some guys outside of a bar when it was actually a fight that he instigated. So yeah,
That's funny. Well, yeah, I mean, we're going into week 2 of the NFL, and your Browns are looking good. My Patriots not
yeah.
so much, but better than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, with the Browns, it's like their offense is still sputtering a little bit, it seems like. I mean, one of those touchdowns came off, I think, if I remember right, it was set up by the defense real nicely there. And one of them was just because, I mean, the Bengals had to get something going and couldn't, and went for it on 4th down deep in their own
Right.
territory. So not the best showing out of the Browns offense, but their defense, I thought, looked absolutely, I mean, that is what I've been hoping for out of a Jim Schwartz defense, is exactly what we saw in week 1.
I think maybe next week you and I will kind of look at maybe we will wait until after the 3rd week of kind of any players that we feel as values have increased. And I forgot to ask you before we started. Do we have a Drew rant and rave this week?
I really don't think I have one at all. I mean, it's been a good week all around.
All right.
It's like I don't have anything to complain about.
We'll do one. We'll do one next week then.
Yeah, we'll do that. That's
all right. Good. Cool. Well, we got a really fun show for you guys this week. We have Les Wolff. Les Wolff's going to come on, talk about he's pained by the Aaron Rodgers injury. He's a huge Jet fan, so we talk a little about that. Les also went to a Joe Namath golf tournament the other day, and he's still out there graphing, Drew. The guy's 70 years old and he's still out there graphing. Can you believe
it? That's amazing. That's amazing.
So we're going to talk to him about graphing at the event at the golf tournament, and then he went just like we were talking, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, I got it last week. I went here to go graph," and I'm like, Really? I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I hope when I'm 70, I'm out there graphing,
Yeah, exactly.
So we have him, and then also we have Reed Larson on, former Detroit Red Wing and Boston Bruin. He played for a couple other teams as well, and he has a new book out. It's called The Shot: The Reed Larson Hockey Story. And we have Reed Larson and Jeff Olson, who wrote the book with Reed. So we're going to talk to Reed and Jeff about the book, and as well as some of stuff about Reed's career. And I had to get a story about the Bruins in there, obviously. So that will be coming up. And we have on Wednesday's show, we're going to have collector Alan Lewis, who is a Wade Boggs and Red Sox fan out of North Carolina, and he's got the drawl, Drew. So it's a fun
Nice.
it's a fun interview with Alan Lewis. That will be on Wednesday's TTMcast on one show. But we also have all our regular segments this week, right, Drew?
Yes, we do. We've got Baker's Dozen covering all the news from the previous week, all around the hobby. As you said, we've got Les Wolff and Reed Larson both on the way for segments during this week. We've got Making the Grade, where we cover everything about grading in the hobby. We've got our stamp of approval. Jeff and I give our 2 thumbs up to anything from the previous week. You never know what it's going to be. I kind of teased mine a little bit in the opener right there. We've got the Vern Rapp Minute covering deaths in the world of sports, celebrity, music, movies, politics, anybody that you might consider TTMing. If they've died, we will let you know about it. And the main reason why everybody is here, our TTM returns.
All right. Good job, Drew. Thank you. Guys, we love to hear from you. Drew, I didn't tell you this. We hit 80,000 downloads all time
Nice.
the other day. So we are quickly approaching 100,000. So I don't think we'll make 100,000 in 2023, but I'm sure in 2024 we will pop out our 100,000 downloads for all time, which I never thought would happen. When I hit 100,000, I thought that was the best thing ever. So when we hit 1,000, I thought that was the best thing ever. So we are. It's I want to thank everyone, including especially Drew, who's made the show outstanding since he joined the show. And I couldn't do the show without you, my friend. It's I feel weird when you're tentatively not going to make the show, and I'm like, no, we have to do the show with Drew. We can't do this show without Drew.
Hey, it's been fun to be on it and everything. And I mean, the good thing is too, if there's ever a time I can't, you've been able to find some really, really good temporary co-hosts there. So it works out well, I think.
Yeah, they don't replace you, though. They don't replace you, my friend. You're irreplaceable, and I know our fans love having you. But guys, we want to hear from you, especially collectors. We want to hear from collectors and people that we can interview for Collectors Corner. So if you want to be on the show, if you want to enter any of our contests, we got a cool 2 contests this week. You just use our email, and that email address is
TTMcast@yahoo.com.
Awesome. All right, Drew, that wraps up all our housekeeping for the week. Let's get right into Baker's Dozen.
Baker's Dozen, sponsored by SportsCollectorsDaily.com.
Smart collectors turn to Sports Collectors Daily to stay up to date. From new releases to incredible collections hitting the auction block, news from inside the business of sports collectibles, and much more, Sports Collectors Daily has it, all with no subscription cost. SC Daily also delivers a live look at the most watched sports card auctions on eBay for every sport. Sign up to get the headlines in your email for free, or just visit the website whenever you like. With 16,000 stories in the archive going back 16 years, there's always plenty to read at SportsCollectorsDaily.com.
Baker's Dozen is the news summary, what's been going on the week. First, I want to remind everyone of our $10 coupon on Collects. Collects is a great app. It's a free app to download. Go to your Google Play or your Apple App Store. Download Collects. It's free. And they're going to give you $10, a $10 coupon that you can use in their marketplace to purchase any cards you want from their marketplace. It's really cool. It's very easy. And all you have to do, download the Collects app, send us your Collects name, your Collects username, and your email address. We'll forward it off to Collects, and they send you a $10 coupon. And that you have to send that to
TTMcast@yahoo.com.
Also, our friends from Card Cradle who've given, I've got 2 card cradles to give away, 2 more card cradles to give away. So all I need, if you want to enter to win a card cradle, we'll give these away next Saturday. All right, Drew, next Saturday, we'll give away 2 card cradles. And all you have to do is send me your name and your mailing address. Important, guys. I need your mailing address. So if you win, I can send it off to you, okay? And send it to
TTMcast at yahoo.com.
And that just put Card Cradle in the subject line, and we'll enter you to win a Card Cradle. Scott, we only have a few entries so far, so it's good odds to win a Card Cradle. So if you want to win a free Card Cradle from our friends at Card Cradle, just send me your name and your mailing address to our email address, which is
TTMcast at yahoo.com.
He nails it every time. Every time he nails it, he's the man.
I try to vary it up a little bit in there.
I know you're giving me my money's worth. That's okay. That's all I ask. That's all I can.
One of these days, I'm going to try to do that 2000s era Yahoo like yodely scream thing there, but not today. I still feel like I one throated a chicken tender last night, so I'm good to wait on that.
I know, we're both kind of dopey this morning, so guys, forgive us. We're giving us the best effort, but I think we're playing hard. I think we're both playing hard today.
A little bit.
All right, we have some auction news to let you know about.
We do indeed. REA had their September Encore sale. That's some really cool.
It's currently going.
Oh, going on right now. Okay, so yeah, that's right. There it is. Ends September 24th. I didn't read far enough ahead there, but got some really cool stuff in there though. A 1954 Wilson Franks Ted Williams up in that auction. So it's always cool. The old food editions like that are always fun stuff.
It's a great looking card.
Yeah, and Williams, I mean, he did a little bit of food pitching in there too. Of course, he was the pitch guy for Moxie there for a while, and you can find that medal sign famously there. But 54 Wilson Franks Ted Williams card and a big group of Mickey Mantle cards. I think it's close to a full run of his cards in there. So if it's not the whole thing, it's pretty darn close to it. So Mantle collectors, go and check that out for sure. The auction ends on September 24th at 9 p.m. And you can find all of that at robertedwardsauction.com.
The guys at Ken Golden Auctions, they had a couple things that sold recently. We just figured we'd give you some results on that. A PSA 10 set of 1986-87 Fleer, not including the stickers. So the stickers weren't included. I think it's impossible to get a PSA 10 on those stickers. They're all always cut wrong, or this seems to be impossible to get a 10 on those. But the set of cards sold for $390,000, which is pretty cool. Also, a 1984-85 Star Company Michael Jordan card, which is his true rookie card, was a PSA 8.5, sold for $144,000. So nice results from Golden Auction, and it's good to see we're still hitting some high numbers on some really cool cards.
Absolutely. Got a Memory Lane summer auction. Results are in. Had $9.1 million in sales on there. Couple of highlights: a 1917 Babe Ruth Standard Biscuit card, graded an SGC 6, and that went for $462,000. 32 bids in on that one, so kind of cool to see that. I mean, that many people that are able to get in and have a go with that card right there. 1952 Topps PSA 5 Mickey Mantle went for $133,906. So those mid-grade mantles there on that 52 tend to go for somewhat more reasonable prices. I mean, we've seen, like the super high ones that have hit the, 8 figures there. PSA 5 right there, though, $133,000. That's only the price of about half of a house right there. So
that's right. Well, Powerball is 600 million, I think, this week. So tonight. So make sure you buy your tickets, because I think we'll see if I win it, or should I say when I win it, I'll be buying some mantle cards. Okay.
I mean, you get 6,000 of those PSA 5s right there if you really wanted to at that. So there you go. That.
All right, well, we have some new releases to let you guys know about. First off the line, Panini Flawless NFL, which is it's like one of those one cards, right? Don't they have like one autograph card encased, or those? It's in the those Flawless.
No, it's a super high end product. Is all this? You're gonna get you're gonna get like 5 or 10 cards in there. I think typically about 10.
But first off the line, Flawless is going for $17,000. So. You gotta win a few. You gotta win at least one scratch ticket to afford that.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing is though, you're gonna get stuff that has like diamonds embedded in it, literally.
Right,
so
really
like,
neat.
All right, that's. I mean, you can't go wrong with the diamond embedded in a card, I guess.
True.
How about some Mosaic basketball? Going to have the White Sparkle packs coming out for that. I know the White Sparkle stuff used to be like a case hit for a while in some of the products, so. You just want to get the White Sparkle cards? They have 3 card packs of those for $300.
speaking of Mosaic, we have first off the line 2023 Mosaic NFL. I love the Mosaic NFL, one of my favorite releases. You get 10 cards, 10 packs, 15 cards per pack. You get 2 autographs, and those first off the line are going for about $750. So probably we're about half price when we talk about the regular releases, right?
Yeah, that's probably about right. And I mean, evidence to that is the price of the Mosaic basketball set that's coming out this week as well. $335. That's not a first off the line one. So kind of gives you an idea of what the regular football one will cost there. But a similar lineup there as to the football one. 10 packs, 15 cards, 1 autograph per box there on the basketball end of Mosaic.
In Topps World, the 2023 Bowman University of Alabama football. It is I guess it's a hobby box, right? 5 cards, 10 packs. That's a hobby box with 1 auto, and those are going for $25. So I guess it's a blaster. I would say it's a blaster box, right?
Yeah, probably closer to a blaster, or somewhere in between blaster and hobby, basically.
And I just saw this morning that the 2023 Topps baseball update they're doing a pre-sale at Topps.com. So the hobby boxes are sold out, but the blaster boxes where you could still buy a blaster box for $25 pre-order. So you can go to Topps.com and check that out. That wraps up all the new releases. We got one show that we've been talking about, and it's the Chantilly show. It's going to be October 20th to the 22nd. It's go to csashows.com. And the Johnny Bench, Eric Dickerson, Steve Largent, Joe Montana, Paul Pierce, a bunch of guys are going to be there. It's the Chantilly show, October 20th through the 22nd. And you go to csashows.com. And I know there's going to be the one at the Shriners in Wilmington is going to be the first weekend in November. That's coming up. Any shows in Dallas, your neck of the woods you're looking forward to?
No, they had the Dallas Card Show I think it was last week they may have had it, but nothing I'm really going to be able to go to at all. I mean, I just bought 2 tickets to Pearl Jam shows, a new computer, and we have a trip to Colorado coming up. So I better wait a bit on any card shows. I mean, Jen's sitting there glaring at me like, yeah, you're damn right you're waiting.
Yeah, no more card shows for you, kid.
Yeah.
All right, well, that wraps up Baker's Dozen. Not the smoothest show today, Joe. We're just kind of we're hitting road bumps and all over the place. I just don't know why.
It works out. I mean, you got to have the it adds some grit to the show, I guess.
Yeah, this one's not going to the Broadcasting Hall of Fame. I can assure you of that. But thanks for sticking with us, guys. We try our hardest. Sometimes the results are there. Today, we're just plugging along. I don't know why. Did you ever see that Thing You Do? Did you ever watch that movie, The Thing You Do?
No, I haven't seen it at all.
Oh, it's a great movie. It's about this band and they're one hit wonder, and they're a new band. They go and they're doing great and they play, and then they go to play this big show, and they had the one song, and it was just a clunker. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. You know, the drum set was all messed up, and the mics were all messed up, and the guitar wasn't plugged in right, and the amps weren't working right. I just feel like that's what we're doing today, Drew.
It happens every once in a while. Everything just falls apart. It's like, I know, but whatever.
We thank you for sticking with us. All right, well, that wraps up Baker's Dozen. We have our next segment is going to be More from Less with Les Wolff.
And now it's time for More from Les with hobby legend Les Wolff. It's football season. There's no better time to get your NFL stars, rookies, and veteran cards graded. CGC Cards offers fast turnaround times so you get your cards back even faster. They have crystal clear holders so your cards shine. And best yet, all starting at just $12 a card. Head to cgccards.com to start grading your cards today.
Well, Les Wolff was at the Joe Namath charity golf tournament, and unfortunately Joe Namath didn't go because he had COVID, but there were all sorts of athletes, and Les was out there 7 years old on Monday, and he's out there still getting autographs and graphing up the storm, and we talk about that. We also talk about his poor Jets with Aaron Rodgers, and the Yankees with Jason Dominguez, and he's having a tough time. So it's Les at his best. Please enjoy my interview with Les. All right, The man, the myth, the legend, he is in the building, and I'm talking, of course, about Les Wolff from Les Wolff Sports LLC. He is the man, and we love to talk to him about his 60 years of collecting, and he's been a busy guy lately. So welcome, Les.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Hey, why don't you tell everyone about you were at the Joe Namath golf tournament today and collected a bunch of autographs.
Yes,
And you told me that you were going to that. I was like, the guy's still out there hitting the pavement and getting autographs. It's just awesome, Les.
yeah, thanks. I don't do it that often. Joe's one of my favorites. Unfortunately, he wasn't there. He's got COVID, so that was a bummer not to be able to see him. But I saw my man Rick Barry, one of my favorites and one of the nicest guys. Hopefully, I'll be able to have lunch with him tomorrow. We can talk a little more sports. Know him since the 70s.
Did he? Did you play any golf, or you were just there getting autographs?
I was just hanging, talking to my buddies and hanging out. So I didn't. I haven't played golf in a long time. I got to start doing it.
Yeah, I mean you're ready to retire, my friend. Go out there and play golf.
Yeah. On Monday, I actually turned 70.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Very cool. That's very nice. Did your family do anything fun for you?
Well, we're doing an architectural tour of Manhattan on Monday. We got to be up early in the morning. Then we're going to a nice steak restaurant in the city for like a brunch, and we're gonna go from there. Should be fun.
So how many former athletes were at the tournament today?
Oh, probably about 40 or 50.
And were they all signing? Were there a lot of autograph seekers there?
No, there's only a couple of us actually.
Did you bump into anyone you knew in terms of collectors?
Yeah, I saw a collector I hadn't seen in a while, and I hung with my old time buddy Mike.
What'd you bring out? Did you bring out a bunch of photos and balls and stuff? What was your plan of attack?
I usually just try to get stuff that I'm keeping nowadays. I don't not that much stuff that I'm looking to sell. I mean, I mainly got my Hall of Fame helmet. Now has 49 Hall of Famers on it.
Who'd you get for the helmet?
I added Morton Anderson. I added who else did I add? Morton Anderson. What am I drawing a blank? I'd have to look at my list. Who I got on that? Morton Anderson. Tim Brown I got.
Oh, good.
And Joe DeLamalore.
Yeah, he's a good signer. He's a good signer through the mail too.
Yeah. I didn't even go up to Marshall Folk. He's not nice at all. So I didn't want to ruin my day. I finally got Rich Gannon on my Sports Illustrated I've had forever.
Who'd you get? I'm sorry.
Rich Gannon, the old quarterback with the Raiders. Yeah. And I saw somebody, I got my Ranger book, my top 100 Ranger guys, Mike Gartner.
Okay.
Hall of Fame, actually. Got Pierre Turgeon on a signed photo. Got a couple OJ Andersons. Those I'm actually looking to sell. And Kellen Winslow I got on the goal line. That's about it. I didn't get that much.
Were there any current players there?
No, there wasn't.
Is this an annual event, and have you been there before?
Yeah. Yes, I hadn't been there in a couple of years since before COVID, but yes, it is an annual event.
Did they, some of these events that they're really not nice to autograph people. Were there any trying to kick you off and keep you away from the athletes?
They usually do, but I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 of us. They kind of left us alone. But then again, what I've learned to do on these things, you have to be extremely discreet, and you can't be a pig. With how many things you get signed. I usually get maybe 1, sometimes 2 things signed, but very, very rarely more than that.
Right. Well, you must have stuck out like a sore thumb with the helmet with your.
I had it in a bag, and I was very discreet with it.
Okay, and do these guys? Do you getting them before the tournament, after the tournament? What was your plan of attack?
What they do is they do a little announcement talking to who's there. So this way I could recognize the guys. Some of the guys I couldn't recognize. So
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recognize Mike Gardner or some of.
no, that was one of my friend and I probably couldn't recognize him. And plus, I went when we got him. I said, Mike, I didn't recognize you because you didn't have your mustache. He said this thick mustache.
Any hoops players?
Yeah, I saw Byron Scott, but I didn't go up to him. I didn't need him. Who else was there basketball wise?
Well, you said Rick Barry
and Rick. Yeah, Rick had a nice old recent picture with. Excuse me.
You got a nice picture of you and him.
Yeah, him and I that got signed, and a nice picture of my man Stefan Matteau. Got it signed by him and I.
Very cool. Well, in terms of football, it's been that's nice. It's been a tough week for Jet fans with the
tough
whole
week fans.
with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. What's your thought on that? And it's too bad because they have a good team.
Oh, it's my Jets. It doesn't surprise me.
What's the prevailing thought down there? Do you think are they saying that's a fait accompli now that then they're just not going to make the playoffs, or they're pretty optimistic?
I really don't know anymore. It's very depressing.
And then we lost Jason Dominguez. He got hurt.
Yeah, he's having Tommy John.
I know he was having a pretty good couple weeks when he was up, and I actually went to the game on Wednesday night. I was hoping to see him, and then I hear that they put him on the DL.
Well, interesting enough, I think I may have had a problem with I had a problem with Jason Dominguez. Panini, I bought somebody was selling like let me see what was this Immaculate Collection in 2020.
Okay.
Dominguez signed card. So I bought it from this guy. For 3 years, I've been trying to get it from Panini. So this year when I went to the National, I went over to the Panini booth and I was talking to the CEO. So I finally got a nice Dominguez card.
Oh, nice.
It's number 10 of 10. And I was just enjoying it. And all of a sudden he gets hurt. And now he's out with Tommy John. I said, oh, God.
Is he going to miss a whole year? Yeah,
he won't be back till maybe June of next year.
That's too bad. It's just this injuries is horrible for these players and these teams. They all these guys, and it takes them out of the lineup. It's tough.
Yes, it does.
I've been picking up any collections. How's your collection is going?
I picked up a decent football and some baseball and some basketball collection, but I have to reevaluate how I buy now because unfortunately, usually when I have a problem with a lot of stuff not being authentic, I just return it and exchange it or I get money back. There's one particular guy I got some stuff from. We did it on the first batch when I did the baseballs. Then I did the footballs. His football stuff was really bad. A bunch of it, like even a Lawrence Taylor, which was shocking to me, and who else? Bill Parcells ball. So he's ignoring me. I said, okay, well, luckily, I built in a little bit of cushion for myself, but in the future, I'm going to pay half, and then after everything gets authenticated, I'm going to pay the other half with people. I decided that's going to be my new policy because it's people, out there, people, you don't realize when someone buys your collection, you don't know what's authentic or what's not, and when someone's purchasing it, they have to evaluate it, but you can't tell on all the autographs. So I'm going to have to do something like that. But I also made an interesting trade.
Tell me, what'd you do?
Actually, I traded cash and money. I traded my John L. Sullivan handwritten letter for John Belushi signed check and a Mickey Mantle Day picture where you wrote Mickey Mantle Day, signed Mickey Mantle. Nice picture.
Like you needed another Mickey Mantle signature, like you need a hole in the head, don't you? Don't you have like 1 million of them?
Yeah, but this was a unique one. Plus I'll probably flip it.
How much? What's the Belushi autograph worth nowadays?
I would say, I sent it off to Jimmy Spence to make sure the check was good, and he wanted to buy it, but I already promised it to one of my buddies. So I think hopefully Jimmy's not upset with me. But I haven't gotten it yet, so I got to I got to finish the deal.
Are you a little less comfortable with celebrity autographs as opposed to sports autographs in terms of your expertise? And you can
Yes.
you can look at a Ted Williams or a Joe DiMaggio and say, yeah, that's good, and that's not good. But can you look at, I don't know, Clark Gable or just any Hollywood star and say, oh yeah, that's a good autograph?
I know what a good, I mean, good mean valuable, yes, but I don't know per se if it's definitely authentic.
Yeah. Does Jimmy Spence authenticate celebrity autographs as well?
Yes, he does.
And is it for you? Is it easier to move a sports autograph as opposed to a celebrity autograph, or you just kind of stick with the guys that you have a guy that's into John Belushi or whoever you're picking up, and you can get unloaded pretty quickly.
I just happened to send it off to one of my friends, and I sent it up, and he was interested in it. I just never saw one, especially a check, so that's why I decided to go after it.
And was this from somebody that you purchased stuff from before? Or is this
no, it was somebody new that contacted me on Facebook.
Are you still getting a lot of people reaching out to you that want to purchase more so now than a couple of years ago when COVID was rampant? Has business continually to grow for you in terms of people who want to sell stuff?
Actually, what I have found that I'm finding more people want to sell to me now than purchase from me,
because they think now they've heard that stuff is more valuable, or the prices are going up, or what do you think? Why do you think?
And then I had a funny one. A guy, I don't know who it was, at my P.O. box, some guy had some stuff, and he saw some guy opening up some memorabilia in an envelope, and he said, I have some stuff I want to sell. So the guy gave him my phone, gave him my P.O. box, and said, look me up. And he called me, the guy. So he's got some stuff.
What's he got? What I mean, you because you're in the New York area, do you see mostly a lot of New York related stuff?
What this guy had was Perez. It's kind of sad. His brother passed away, and his sister-in-law inherited some Perez Steel sign and some Hall of Fame placards.
Mm-hmm.
Most valuable Perez Steel was 2 satchel pages.
Oh, nice.
They weren't nice. They weren't real.
Oh, that's too bad.
And he had like 3 Sandy Koufaxes on Perez Steels that weren't real either. So that was kind of a bummer.
Are you seeing a lot more fakes or in your daily travels? It sounds like you're seeing a lot of fakes lately.
Yeah, I am actually. It's kind of tough.
Do you think that what percentage of the stuff that you run across is fake? Is it 20% of the stuff that you run across, 10%, 5%? What do you think
Like a collection, a friend of mine's cousin. I was kind of surprised. I mean, Parcells I thought looked good, and the Taylor looked good, but I never saw bad ones on either one of them until this time. Even a Jerry Rice was no good. Percentage wise, I usually factor in a couple. I mean, there's one big collection. There was one bad Jeter card signed, and a Jeter Subway sign. And unfortunately, the Subway sign is something that I wanted to keep. But this guy was a retiring dentist. He was easy to deal with. Unfortunately, I had to reconstruct the whole deal because he wanted a breakdown of everything I purchased from him. So, wish I did that, and then we worked out a suitable refund. So that was fine. But there's one particular guy, he's kind of ghosted me. But I said to myself, okay, I learned my lesson for the future. I'm gonna pay half down and half after everything is authenticated. And if people don't like it that way, I can't help it. And then I had another guy contacted me, another referral, and he's got an '86 Giant helmet signed by the team, and they go 1,500, maybe 2,000 at most, right?
Yep.
So I just asked him. I said, "Well, what are you looking for on it?" "I want 6,000. That's what I paid. I want to at least get 6." I said, "Excuse me." I said, "I don't think so." So that kind of makes me leery of whether or not I even want to go see the guy's collection when a guy is, he's triple retail.
Are the people that you talk to now that are selling their stuff, are they more educated because of the internet, or do they have inflated values of this stuff? Like you said, the guy with the $6,000 helmet.
I think what the problem is with a lot of people nowadays is they'll go on eBay or they'll go online and they'll see something that someone's trying to get $5,000 for it, not knowing that they haven't sold it, and that's what they think it's worth.
Right, because they're comping it out basically. Somebody's asking $5,000 for something that, and they haven't sold it. It's just a number that they have thrown out there, and it's not a true comp.
Exactly. I mean, if you're going to go to that extreme, you should go to eBay and look at sales closed. That'll give you a better idea, and that's what I did. I know myself. I had a 90 and a 91 Super Bowl helmet signed by the Giants. I think I sold them both for like $2,200 for both of them at the National.
Okay.
So you guys wanted for the 86, wanted 6,000. I said, I don't think so. Then I had another guy that he happened to have sold me a Mickey Mantle of the Mick. He sold it he posted it on Facebook. It was very reasonable. I think he wanted like $1,000 or $700. So I bought it and I said, what else you have? He says, I got two more. And I got some 3 500 home run balls with 2 with Mantle and DiMaggio on the sweet spot. That's okay. I said, I'm interested in buying everything. Well, takes him a couple of months. He finally sends me some pictures and everything is certified. I mean, Mantle and DiMaggio on a sweet spot with the original 11 is a really nice piece. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the ball is probably 1,000, 1,500 most. The Mantle, the Mick is probably a $2,000 ball. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Well, I said, so what do you want? And there was a Seaver ball with Hall of Fame on there. So I said, what do you want for it? He said 15,000. I said, okay, thank you. I don't think we're making a deal.
15,000. So you guys aren't even like, if somebody wants that much, you're not even in the same stratosphere. Do you just walk away from it? It's not even worth it.
Yeah, I said thank you. I can't come near that. I appreciate the offer. Go try to find someone else, basically.
What are some of the things you've sold on your website and in your eBay stores lately?
What have I sold recently? Believe it or not, a bunch of celebrities have been selling them recently. I sold a Pacino 8x10 from Scarface. Just sold a couple of Leroy Neiman 3x5s. I sold something pretty interesting. I had a giant, like a 16x20 of Tom Seaver with his retirement when he retired his number.
Nice.
And it was signed, with the date. I sold that. I've been in the collection that I got a lot of certified cards that were company certified.
Yep.
So I've been selling a bunch of those. I had like a Gooden and a Strawberry card. But it's interesting though, and I have a Mantle card, going, gone, score, limited edition 2,500, but it's light, and okay. I have it. Mine is the cheapest authentic Mantle card on eBay right now, and I've had people really lowballing me on it, which is crazy. I mean, I have it for $550. I had a guy offer me $425, then $300, $400. I mean, I would probably take like $450 for it, but it's still, because it's a little light, but it's an authentic autograph. You're not going to get, there's no Mantle autographs on a card that you're going to get that's certified like that for anywhere near that number.
Have you picked up any of that? I know you love the Mantle autograph baseball cards. Have you picked up any more Mantle autograph baseball cards?
Well, did you see what those Mantle autograph cards went for?
I know the whole run of them. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was a friend of mine's collection. That was just simply an amazing collection. That went for like almost $1 million.
I know.
I just think, I just wonder if now's the time for me to get my money back and sell out, cash out on some of that stuff.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you and I have talked. Yeah, when is the time? You never know, right? I guess it's mentally when you're ready to unload is the time, because if you get buyer's remorse or seller's remorse because because if I held on to them for 6 more months, they would have been worth X. Or I shouldn't have held on to them for 6 months because the market's gone down. So you never know. It's kind of like it's like having kids, right? There's no perfect time to have kids. They just come.
It's interesting though. A number of years ago, Mantle really peaked, and I didn't sell. Then during the pandemic, that's when he peaked again, even more than before. I mean,
Yep.
he came down for a little bit. Now he's peaking again. So I've been sold a Mantle 10, a Mantle 9 ball, and I don't have many of them left. What I've been selling a lot of, believe it or not, is Mantle 8x10s. People seem to love buying Mantle 8x10s.
Yeah, maybe
Fine
because
with me.
you can display them, right? They're nice to display.
And I also went for the Yankee old timers, 1998 team.
Did you go? They just had the old timers game last week, right? In Yankee Stadium. Did you go?
I didn't go to the game. I just went to the hotel, and I went to the dinner afterwards. But Jeter finally came to the dinner. Ignored of us. There was about a dozen of us coming in and going out. He's pretty good, so he didn't pick up a pen. That was very upsetting.
How about anyone else? Did you get Bernie Williams or Posada or Pettit or any of those guys?
Bernie Williams had shoulder surgery, so he wasn't there.
Okay.
Probably the biggest name that I got that was there was Tim Raines. I got him on this year to appreciate his rookie card.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean he's a pretty good signer, right? I know he doesn't sign through the mail anymore, but he's still a pretty good signer in person.
He was a little tough. He wouldn't sign when he was with his daughters, and then he's with his agent, and he finally broke down. They got El Duque, got a bunch of guys.
As I said earlier, Les, I'm proud of you. You're still out there pounding the pavement and going to these events. I'm jealous.
I don't do it that often. I can't. I got to tell you, collecting all day, for the Yankees, it took its toll on me. I was exhausted.
I mean, you're on your feet for whatever 8-10 hours.
Yeah. Friday, I was beat. But what I really wanted is I wanted to get a Jeter on my Hall of Fame placard for my own collection. It's the only one I need now of all the living guys.
Yeah, I know. Jeter showed up in the National. He was in the arena booth for a little while, but he wasn't. I don't think he signed at all.
No, yeah. I tried to offer some.
Did you see him there?
I didn't see him, but I went over and offered guys money before he was there to get my stuff signed, but no one wanted to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's standoffish, and he's just kind of. I guess he's tired of doing signing autographs. I don't know.
He's actually one of the nicer guys. He's very, very good to the collectors, but surprisingly, he didn't do it.
What do you get? You got anything else planned for the rest of the year? Or are you gonna take it easy now?
What do I plan for the rest of the year? I have the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Okay, cool.
City coming up, but unfortunately, Mr. George Foreman will not be there. I was hoping to get him. But there'll be other guys there. So I'm going to do that. And then what do I have? Then I have the Hofstra show in October.
Good.
Jimmy Ryan's doing it. And I'm gonna have a nice stack of inventory, from this collection. I got 2 1973 team signed basketballs of the Knicks. I've got the 1990 Super Bowl helmet signed by the Giants. Those are some of the better things out of the collection that I got. But I got something interesting that I did keep, which I'm trying not to keep too much stuff anymore because I got too much shit.
I'm sure your wife preached that.
But I kept something. I kept a floorboard from the '69 Knicks that Steiner did a really nice thing with it. He got it signed by all the Knicks and put it in a nice frame, shadow box frame with pictures of the team. And the floorboard looks cool because it's cut and it's signed. It's about like an 8x10 size floorboard with Frazier and Reed and Bradley and Jackson and Monroe and Holtzman. So that I kept.
Have you seen a shift in demand of anything that in terms of people wanting stuff? You mentioned 8x10 photos. Is that are people more gravitating towards that as opposed to signed pieces of memorabilia or uniforms or something like that?
What I am seeing is that for a while I was selling a lot of mantle balls. Now I'm finding a lot of people buying mantle photos. And you know what? The average person out there, I mean, a ball is a much better investment, but pictures is much more reasonable. I'm selling
Sure.
photo 400, 450. I have one that's 550 because it's signed Mickey Mantle number 7. And then you look at a ball, it's going to cost you at least eight to 1,500 for a nice single sign ball on Mantle. So, and it's a good market. I mean, Mantle stuff never goes down.
Yep. Well, guys, we're talking with Les Wolff. Les Wolff, of course, is from Les Wolff Sports LLC. He has a eBay store. Why don't you give your eBay store again? Because I always mess it up.
Sports autographs with Z's, SPORTZ, AUTOGRAPHZ.
He is also on Les Wolff Sports LLC. .com, and he has a store there, and you can check out all the stuff if you're looking for anything cool for a gift. We got all the holidays coming up, and there's all sorts of cool stuff Les has. And if it's not on his store, send him an email or give him a call. I'm sure he can find it for you. He's got all sorts of stuff. He will be out at the Hofstra show next month. He has a booth there. We'll be at the Boxing Hall of Fame down in Atlantic City next month, and he is the man when it comes to finding autograph stuff, and he's just been doing it forever, and he's been hitting the pavement, which I'm very impressed with. Les, that impresses me more than anything, you know.
Yeah, but you know what? It's my buddy that I've been collecting with for like 50 years. Next year he turns 80, and Monday I turn 70. So I'm getting up there. I don't know how many more years I'm going to be doing this. I got to eventually just, as they would say, hang up the pen.
I know, it's just fun though, right? It's still fun, even at your age. It's still fun to interact with these guys and
that's the best part of it. Hanging out. Talking to Rick, Barry, and hanging out and talking to him is cool. So you never know.
Okay.
And actually, getting Morton Anderson the other 2 times before he was in the Hall of Fame, he was really a nasty guy. This time he took my helmet. Where do you want me to sign it? And and he was super nice.
Yeah, I had him on the show probably about a year ago. He was a very good guest, and he does a show out of Las Vegas.
He's a big boy now.
Yeah. I'm sure he is.
He could be an offensive lineman for one of the football teams.
Yeah, but I know he will sign through the mail. I think he's
The first
$20.
one.
I think it's $20. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I know he does. He was signing through the mail for the longest time.
But he personalizes everything.
If you ask him not to, he won't. Because he signed one card he signed for me and he personalized it. The other one he signed and he didn't personalize it. So
Well, you are the man.
how are we doing on TTM? You got any TTMs out there?
I just started mailing out again. I told you, I think I mailed out my picture with my girlfriend that I can't wait to get signed. You remember who that is?
Yeah, Jacqueline Smith, right?
Very good.
When is that? That should be coming back to you soon. She's a pretty quick turnaround.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to that. I just mailed out to Dan Hampton. I needed him on my goal lines. And then I'm getting ready to mail out to Steve Tannen, the old Jet safety.
Okay.
I found some cards on them. Did
you ever send anything to Jerry Cheevers? I sent something out last week to him. Just take a shot at it.
Probably sent it years ago. I haven't sent it in a while. Actually, another thing with this collection I got, it was very interesting. The guy had this stuff in his attic, and he had a skylight. What do you call it? Skylight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this stuff got faded. And the first time I've ever seen even insert cards, I got like an Eli Manning that the whole autograph is faded off, a LT, a whole bunch of them got completely faded off.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, it's like the class I teach: collect, invest, protect, and preserve your memorabilia. A lot of people don't preserve it.
Have you done any more classes lately?
I was scheduled to do one this past weekend on Saturday. They canceled. They rescheduled. I have another one coming up. Actually, I have one coming up for senior citizens guys in one of these developments.
Okay.
And they're projecting about 75 people.
Oh, wow.
And so that may keep me, I may be there for a while. That's next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So I'm going to be a busy beaver with that. I got about 5 or 6 libraries coming up. The best part about it,
you are a busy man, Mr. Wolff.
yeah. The best part about it, as far as doing the lectures, is actually hearing the collections and hearing what the people have and seeing what they have. Like I told you, the Seaford Library that I went to is by far, I had about a dozen people there, but by far and wide the best stuff I've ever seen, except for when I was on the road show with ESPN.
The people brought stuff. What did they bring for you to look at?
I saw a Jordan rookie. I saw a Gretzky rookie.
Signed or just regular?
Just regular.
Just raw.
Raw. I saw a Garrick album page that Hunt ended up auctioning for this guy. Another woman had a bunch of Mantle cards. I have an appointment to see her, I think, next week. A lot of interesting stuff I saw. It was really very interesting. And it was nice. A lot of nice stuff. But the stories, how these people, and one guy had LeBron's first game that he ever played, not official game, but preseason, which even that ticket's worth some good money.
Very cool. Well, guys, if you have anything that you'd like Les to do appraisals on and give his opinion on, we do that just about every month, and maybe we'll do it in a couple of weeks, Les. Do our September appraisal. So if you have anything that you'd like to have Les do an appraisal on, and it's not official appraisal, just his opinion, what it's worth, and maybe if you're questioned on authenticity of a autograph, you can send any of that stuff to me at ttmcast@yahoo.com. That's ttmcast@yahoo.com. Put for Les Wolff, and I think we'll do that in 2 weeks, Les. Okay.
Okay, and if anybody's looking to get anything authenticated, you have to go to the number one source, Jimmy Spence.
Right. This is all we're talking about. This is opinion. You get the best opinion in the business for nothing.
Well, the best opinion really is Jimmy Spence.
All right. Okay. Get the second best opinion in the business for nothing.
I just give my rough idea. I don't know everything.
All right, bud. All right, let's hope for no more injuries, right? Let's end this baseball season already, because it's been brutal for both my team and your team. And the football season could be a long season. We're only week 1 of this thing. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's terrible. I wonder who my Jets are going to get as their backup now.
I don't know why they're looking at Colin Kaepernick. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Are they? I didn't know.
Yeah, I think Colin Kaepernick's looking at them as opposed to the Jets looking at Colin Kaepernick. But I don't know why his name keeps rearing its ugly head every year, so that he's ready to come back. And he wasn't much of a quarterback when he was playing. Last was like he was like if somebody died in his family when we started talking Aaron Rodgers and Jets, but the guys are the best, and he's out there with his helmet getting signed, his pictures getting signed, and he's the man. He's still doing it. So I'm proud to consider Les a friend, and it's great that we have him to contribute to the show. Don't you think, Drew?
Absolutely. I mean, the guy has forgotten more about autographs than either of us will ever know in our lives. So it's, this guy, when you say expert, that is the expert in the field.
Yeah, he's the man. Well, that wraps up our More from Less segment. Next up, we're going to have Collector's Corner.
And now it's time for Collector's Corner. Let's hear from our collector this week.
This segment is sponsored by Collects, the free app for scanning and cataloging your cards. Buy or sell cards on the marketplace. Turn the hobby into your side hustle today. Well, this week, Drew, we had Reed Larson, who played 14 seasons in the NHL. He played with the Detroit Red Wings and the Boston Bruins primarily. He also played with Edmonton Islanders. And I think he actually played a game with the Sabres. So there was one game in there with the Sabres. He scored over 200 goals. And he's an American, so I think he's if he hasn't had most goals scored by American, he's right up there, probably with Brett Hull and a couple other guys, right?
Yeah, yeah. He's
written a new book.
He's at least, I would bet, top among American defensemen if I had to guess.
Yeah, I would think so too. But he's not in the Hall of Fame, and we talk about that. We talk with Reed Larson and Jeff Olson, who he wrote a book with. It's called the Shot, the Reed Larson Hockey Story, and we're going to be giving away 2 copies of Reed's book. So if you want to win a copy of Reed Larson's book, just put in your in the email, just put Reed Larson as the subject line. Send me your name and your mailing address to
TTMcast@yahoo.com.
Yeah, and we'll give away 2 copies of Reed Larson's book next week. We'll announce that next week. So if you want to win a copy of Reed Larson's book, it's available on Amazon.com. It's called The Shot, the Reed Larson Hockey Story. But we have an interview. We talked to Jeff Olson and Reed Larson about the book and about Reed's career in the NHL. So please enjoy my interview with Jeff Olson and Reed Larson. All right, guys, I'd like to welcome to the show a veteran of 14 seasons in the NHL. He played for the Detroit Red Wings, the Boston Bruins, the Edmonton Oilers, and had cups of coffee, right? I guess cups of coffee is the best way to describe it. With the New York Islanders, Minnesota North Stars, and the Buffalo Sabres, he played in over 900 NHL games, scored 222 NHL goals. He was an All-Star 3 times in 1978, 1980, and 81. He is a member of the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame and elected in 1996. And I'd like to welcome Reed Larson to the program. Welcome, Reed.
Thank you, Jeff. Great to be here.
Also, we have Jeff Olson. Jeff Olson has co-written a brand new book with Reed. The book is titled The Shot, the Reed Larson Hockey Story. And we're going to talk a little about the book with Reed and Jeff, and then we're going to talk a little about just kind of Reed's playing career and some collectibles once we get into it. So Reed, first, really, I'd like to talk to you about The Shot. You really you went really deep into it and how you trained for the shot and how you perfected the shot. Was this something as you were growing up that you realized, hey, I got a pretty good shot here?
Yeah, it's funny because some people get turned off, like to brag about it or talk about it, but when you get asked about it so much, or sometimes it's brought up so much, and it becomes effective if you use it the right way. So growing up, I became fascinated with playing with older players always, and then shooting the puck and trying to keep up with them, curving sticks, trying different sticks, curving them over a pan of water over with a flame like a gas flame, like a welder's flame deal. So, you always were messing around. And there was a particular fellow that was about 4 or 5 years older than me that would stay at the park late, and we'd skate together and just shoot and test each other and so forth and compete. So that's kind of how it got started. As far as into shooting, I just got fascinated with it.
What makes it a heavy shot? Because everyone commented that obviously it was fast, but it was a heavy shot as well, kind of like I guess a sinker ball in baseball. How did that come about, making your shot heavy?
Well, it's a combination of a lot of things, I believe. You have golf, everybody wants to hit the ball a long ways, farther and farther and farther, and some end up doing it successfully, some end up screwing up their game or their swing. But with the shooting the puck, I would say a combination of muscle development, muscle memory, repetition, stick design, and like I said, so it's just a lot of things as you're growing up. And it happened probably starting at age 11 or 12 till 18, 19 years old. I would water ski, like I mentioned in the book, some of these things.
Yep.
You water ski. I started water skiing at like 5, 6 years old. I was barefooting by 14, doing slalom courses and tournaments. High bar. I went to day camp with YMCA. My counselor was a gymnastics state champion for high bar and trampoline, and I thought that was a blast. So we were always doing, gymnastics. Then I wrestled. I grew up in the city of Minneapolis where there was free sports. You went to public school. Every year in the fall there was football. Then there was wrestling. Then there was some gymnastics in the summer. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could participate in. And I was only 2 or 3 blocks away from the park growing up. So that's what we had, that's what we did. Everybody would go down and do these things and participate. And you kind of found out what you really liked, or, what you really wanted to pursue. So as far as the shooting goes, there's a lot of things that go into it, which, like Jack Blatto has mentioned, I didn't really notice. I didn't plan it. It just kind of happened. But the shooting part of the game was fascinating, and I think I had some help from some older players at the time, and they were allowing me to play with them, and they were probably 4, 5, 6 years older. I lost a couple teeth doing that, but that's okay.
Did you prefer going high with your shot and trying to hit the corners, or did you prefer going low, hitting the 5-hole? Did you have a preference in your
when you got to a college and pro level? I looked at it this way: if I was shooting from the point at from a stationary position,
yep,
I would try to shoot on the ice to 6 inches off the ice. So trying to get over the goalie's pad when he splits, but you're trying to make it a lot easier for the player to tip, or so the player stands in front of the net.
Yep.
But lower shots were better for rebounds, usually better for accuracy, and usually better for tip-ins. Usually.
Who was the toughest?
So I tried to keep them lower.
Who was the toughest goalie you went up against? Somebody that we really had a trouble getting the puck by him?
Well, Ken Dryden comes to mind right away. At the time, that most goalies were short in stature. He was like 6'5" back then, and he was tough. He would play. He wasn't a guy that moved. I don't want to use flopper. Goalies probably hate that, but there's acrobatic goalies and jump around and like a cat. But he was a guy, like you say, you read his books and he studies. He kind of was very analytical, and he kind of just was playing the angles all the time, but also covered a lot of the net. Billy Smith obviously was very, very good. Grant Fuhr was good. Some of the guys had a little better luck against than others, and who knows. But I would say Kenny Dryden and Billy Smith were two guys at the time that were pretty hard to get the puck by.
Now, Bobby Orr redefined your position as a defenseman. He was really one of the first guys and in person that perfected that offensive defenseman. Did you model your game?
I know you can go, numbers, goals, assists, which for the short time Bobby Orr played and the numbers he puts up and the control he had of the game that he took, of the game was amazing. I don't know if that'll ever be replaced. And everybody has their time in history. The human body gets bigger, stronger, and faster. There's more players, more people, more competition. But Bobby Orr, picture him in my bedroom and Bobby Hull, those two guys. But when you watch Bobby Orr play, there's not too many coaches that on a penalty shot pull your goalie and put your defenseman in, and then he comes out to meet you. So just to give you an idea, what he did to the game or for the game, watching him, whether it was handling the puck, shooting the puck, smart. He was tough. He was well balanced. You had a lot of defensemen that were big and tough, but maybe not as skilled. Then you had some that were really skilled, but really weren't protective or enforcers or show up in the corner. So Bobby Orr was well-rounded. He was just skated effortlessly. Paul Coffey skated like that. That's the only guy I can think of that really kind of skated similar to that. But yeah, Bobby Orr definitely was the pioneer. He was the standard. He set the bar for sure.
When you spent 2.5 years in Boston and with Bruins, did you get to discuss hockey in your game with Bobby when you were here?
Well, I had an auto accident. I think shortened my career and screwed things up. I was T-boned in an accident. My Suburban was laying on my arm and
oh wow,
had nerve damage and all that. So I had to do some recuperation and work at Boston Mass General or whatever it is, and the KinCom it was called. But I got to do a couple charity events while I was rehabilitating to get ready to play with Bobby Orr, and the guy oozes class. Number one, and it was fun to talk to him about hockey and meet him a few times, and just really a classy guy. And so the two guys that, if you guys, not to jump ahead, but the two guys that really stick out for defensemen in all of NHL history is, Bobby Orr and Larry Robinson. Larry Big Bird Robinson, too, is a guy that, he might not put up the huge numbers that some of the defensemen, but for one big game in the playoffs or Stanley Cup Finals, or to control your end, to control the other team's tough players, to control the zone. The guy was, he owned the ice when he was out there. So it was pretty interesting.
Jeff, you've written the book with Reed. It's called The Shot, the Reed Larson hockey story. What did you surprise you about writing the book with Reed? Because I'm sure you knew him as a fan, but what surprised you getting all these stories out of Reed and learning about his background? What really surprised you writing the book?
We just mentioned Reed just mentioned and you Larry Robinson, and what really came home and really came on strong, that's maybe surprised me a little bit, is the connections that Reed has with former teammates and players throughout the league. And Larry Robinson is a great example of that. And back to the book, Larry Robinson says, hey, hockey players, this is a hockey must read. And Larry Robinson, mainly known as the best defenseman ever, Hall of Famer, Hockey Hall of Famer, 20 years, 6 Stanley Cups, and he coached for another 10 years. But Larry played his entire career during, or I should put it the other way, Reed Larson played his whole career while Larry Robinson was playing. And when we mentioned Larry, and getting back, you talked about, Jeff, The Shot. That's the other thing that came on really, really strong in talking to a lot of players. And that's the big thing about the book, is there's a lot of contributions by other players. So, for instance, the chapter on high school, it's his high school coach, it's his co-captain. The chapter on college hockey with Herb Brooks and winning a 1976 national championship. There's the captain of the team, the leading scorer, Tom Vanelli. And then in the NHL, we have all these contributions, and especially going back to The Shot. And that's what I was just mentioning. These players say, well, what about Bobby Hall? I ask him on the phone, or when I talk to him, or I email back before, I say, no, Reed Larson had the hardest, heaviest shot. And those are the words of Larry Robinson. So a lot of hockey people nowadays, you see all these online, who's the top 10 hardest shots? What about this Chara? What about Al McGinnis, this, that? But I always say now, after talking to these players and getting their contributions for the book, Larry Robinson. He says, and he was in the same division, Canadiens and the Red Wings. They played 6 games regular season that first year and 5 playoff games between the Red Wings and the Canadiens. Dryden in the net, 11 games. And he said nobody had as hard, as heavy a shot. Jim Rutherford, longtime goalie, moves on to do great things as general manager. He faced Bobby Hall. And he said, no way. Larson had a harder, heavier shot. So it's interesting when you mention The Shot. The book has 26 pages, an 8-step breakdown. It has a lot of quotes from 10 different players, 5 goalies. We've got Eddie Mio, Mario Lessard, Jim Rutherford. And we've got Kevin Lowe, the defenseman of the dynasty with the Oilers during the 80s, and also had a couple with the Rangers. And, of course, Larry Robinson, too. But you mentioned the goalies a while back. Really an interesting thing. Reed Larson steps in that rookie season in 1977-78. He has 2 seasons, the last 2 seasons of Ken Dryden, the Canadiens. He has Jerry Cheevers for 2 seasons with the Bruins. Then Rogie Vachon takes over with the Bruins, but he was with the Kings those first 2 seasons. Then he had Bernie Perrant with the Flyers, Tony Esposito with Blackhawks, Billy Smith of the Islanders. So you have an 18-team league at those first 2 seasons. And of those 17 teams, he's facing 6 goalies that are in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Then during his career, towards the end, Patrick Roy comes in, Grant Fuhrer, of course, with the Oilers for a number of years, and Eddie Giacomin actually with the Red Wings a little bit back and forth. So 9 goalies at a Hockey Hall of Fame. It was really an era of concentrated Hockey Hall of Fame. But the big thing is that shot. Nobody had as hard and as heavy a shot. And there's some great stories in the book. There's one about Dennis Hextall, who was captain of the Red Wings, Reed's rookie season, 77-78. And he'd played for the Rangers, played for Gold Steels, 3-time All-Star, played for the North Stars. So it's a power play. The puck goes back to the point. Reed's going to take the shot, and Hextall's trying to get his stick around so he could get a nice tip in. The hard shot comes so fast and heavy, he can't get a stick around. The shot hits his skate, and the support plastic goes tech the old CCM at. It shatters the skate. It goes into 10, 50 pieces, goes in the corner. It flips over Hextall because he has only one leg. He looks up, the puck goes in the net, he gets goal. And Larson gets the, and that's the other thing about it. We have a shot like that. And really, Reed was the king of power play points and goals, but many times on a power play, the goalie might do acrobatics to make that save if they're lucky enough. And where's the puck? It's just lying there. And that's why there's the forwards lines, they loved it. They tip it in, they get the power play goal, and the Reed gets the assist. So a huge presence on the power play.
Reed, do you have
The
a favorite?
funniest thing was watching Hextall get to the bench on
one leg.
one skate. Yeah.
Reed, do you have a favorite moment on the ice? Do you have a favorite goal or a favorite moment on the ice? You've played in 904 games. Is it hard to pick out one or two?
Yeah, I wish I could say Stanley Cup playoffs or games.
I know you guys almost did it in Boston. You almost did it in Boston.
Hey, Reed,
Yeah,
how
we
about
did.
Reed, how about the 1980 All-Star game? Your discussion, tell them about the discussion before the game, Gordie Howe, and you do get go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a couple, a couple of the All-Star games that I played in. The first one in 1980 is my rookie season in Buffalo.
That was your third.
Yeah, I know. There's two of them. Just wait.
Yep.
So the first one is 1980, and I'm sitting in the corner looking around the dressing room, and you have like the French Connection line, Gilbert Perreault, René Robert, Richard Martin. You got Guy Lafleur, Lemaire, Schutt, Yvonne Cornway, Larry Robinson, Serge Savard, Guy Lapointe, Boris Helming, Brad Park, Kenny Dryden, Scotty Bowman's coaching, Marcel Dion. I mean, so it was kind of like, what the heck am I doing here? You know what I mean? And that was pretty impressive. And we won that game 3-2, and there was a couple of fights, and it wasn't like All-Star. It was a serious, like a neighborhood brawl. You know what I mean? It was a very serious competitive game. And then the one that Jeff was talking about in Detroit, Larry Robinson, we're getting ready to go out on the ice. He says, Gordie, this will be probably one of Gordie's last games. I can't remember, Jeff, how old he was at the time. I don't know if he was 50 or whatever 51. It was, but he was playing in the All-Star game. He says, we got to get Gordie a point or a goal, something for this last game. And I think he ended up getting a goal, didn't he, Jeff? I'm not sure. But
well, you got a goal, and Robinson got a goal, and your team won, coached by Scotty Bowman. But, yeah, that was he had just come from the WHA, Gordie Howe, his 23rd All-Star game, his last one. Tell him about the introduction of all the players in the crowd. Unbelievable, of course, in Detroit. They hadn't seen him for –
obviously, hang on. Obviously, it's my home All-Star game in Detroit, and they're introducing the starting lineup, and and I'm next to the last guy, and I come out to the bench to get introduced, and then I start skating out to the ice to line up for the anthem, and the crowd is on its feet. It's so loud I can't even hear or see it, and I'm going, geez, what the heck is going on? And I turn around and line up, and there's Gordie Howe standing out on the bench, not on the ice yet, but just at the doorway. And the crowd, and I don't know about the official time. It seemed like it went on forever, but it was like a 15-minute standing ovation for Gordie Howe, and it just seemed like it never stopped. I've never witnessed anything like it ever in sports or on TV or anything. It was pretty cool. So, but for me, that was a defining moment for sure.
Jeff, that is the All-Star game. A quick note is a great discussion because Reed comes directly from college hockey for his rookie season. Within 3 months, early January, 3 months of play, starting in October, he selected the All-Star team. And he just mentioned that Wales team coached by Scotty Bowman, while the other 4 defensemen, 5, are all Hockey Hall of Famers. Brad Park, Serge Savard, Guy Lapointe, Larry Robinson, and Bjorn
Boria
Salming.
Salmi.
But he's selected after 3 months of play to be an all-star. And then that year, no other rookie defenseman in their rookie year had ever scored 60 points. Not Dennis Potvin, not Bobby Orr, not Brad Park in their rookie season. And then he goes on to be the first American at any position to score 200 goals. So there's a lot of firsts and a lot to prove or demonstrate that high top offensive defenseman that you were referring to earlier. Yes, completely revolutionized by Bobby Orr, creates the new position, wins the scoring title a couple of years up high. Then he has the injury about 3 years before Reed joins, but that whole group of five that Reed would be part of, Brad Park, Dennis Potvin, Larry Robinson, and Bjorn Salming, take that new position and bring it into this golden era of a lot of top offensive defensemen that Reed is at the top or near the top for those first 10 years.
Reed, did you keep any of your All-Star memorabilia from when you played? Did you keep any jerseys or pucks?
Yeah, I have the jerseys. I mean, it was kind of a funny thing. I was picked for 4 All-Star games, but played in 3. There's a long story on why I didn't go for the 4th one, but another player went. But I did keep 3 of the jerseys. I have those at home, and people I know sometimes sell or get rid of them or hand them off or don't. But I can't remember when somebody said at the All-Star game to me, I think it was Guy Lapointe, always hang on to this. He says, don't give it up no matter what. So, I mean, it's pretty interesting. But I still have them. Yep, it's fun. They're hanging in the closet, of course, but
you got to get them framed and put them up on the wall. Those things are nice.
Yeah, they are. Back then, it's pretty cool. Some of those jerseys are kind of thick, woven, heavy, and hot. They're not like the new stuff. But yeah, those are really, really memorable times for me because, I was lucky to play in an era that I played in. Okay, so this is not about me. This is about when I got to play, the players that I got to play with and against to me is kind of what I cherish. Unbelievable guys, great players, and Stanley Cup Hall of Famers, players that were in the league when I was in high school and college, just idolizing, and it was a real thrill for me. So
did you keep your first goal, the puck from your first goal, or do you have any of those special goals? Maybe
yep, I have that. I scored that in Pittsburgh, and I still have that puck somewhere. Dig it out, somewhere. But I do. I have that. Yep. I still have one stick left that I played with, an original game stick. Over the years, people ask you to donate and stuff like that. But I think I've got a few things left, like you say. But anyways, it's fun to what Jeff did is it was his idea to do this book, and he put in so much work and fact finding and interviews but it's been really a lot of fun kind of reliving and finding out things that I didn't know Jeff did. So it was very, very, very interesting. Hats off to him too. So,
Reed, were you a card collector as a kid? Did you collect hockey cards, baseball cards, any of that stuff?
I have a funny story on that one. My 2 brothers and I, we all slept in one bedroom upstairs in a little house in South Minneapolis. My dad was a truck driver. My mom worked at Sears. Every time you bought bubble gum or candy, you got baseball cards, right?
Yep.
And I bet you I cry when I tell this story. I bet you we had upstairs in our closet about 8 to 10 shoe boxes full of baseball cards, rookie cards. And I sometimes hear or read or see what baseball cards are worth nowadays. Yep. And I know, because when we moved and we all grew up and she threw them out because just kind of reorganized and clean. Honest to God, you guys, Mickey Mantle, I don't care, Hank Aaron, it doesn't matter, Yastrzemski, but you can, all these old timer ones, Lou Dobbs. I mean, I remember, and I wish I had the hockey ones, but back then we had some, but the baseball, I know. There had to have been hundreds of thousands of dollars thrown away.
Oh no,
sure.
not
anyway.
that, Mom. What was your?
I know.
What was your feeling when you got your first card? Got your first rookie card, your first card from Topps? Was that special for you?
I always go, wow, they did that already? I mean, this is like, you're not expecting it usually, they kind of laugh because somebody, hands you a card and wow, you're definitely surprised, because they sometimes if you have a pretty good start, they get on it pretty good. And there's been a few cards they don't see much, but
do you still get autograph requests through the mail, and do you sign a lot of stuff?
I'm in insurance. I get them on a weekly basis, and of course, I can only imagine guys like Gretzky, Lemieux, Messier, these guys, what they get. But yes, I get every week, and it can be from Poland, Russia, Sweden, Finland, Italy, Canada, all over the Canada, United States, of course, all the time. But a lot from Europe too. But yeah, some weeks there's a couple, and some weeks there's a dozen. But yeah, you get requests with self-addressed stamped envelopes to sign cards and send them back, and it's kind of interesting sometimes what they have to say, and anything from "too bad you couldn't have played for a better team" to "thanks for it was fun watching it." I mean, and I love Detroit. I love the organization. It was a tough time for them, management.
Yeah, I mean, 10 years later, 10 years. If you could have been 10 years later, you would have been all those great teams.
I really believe when Scotty got there, that's when I think Jacques Demers did a good job, and they were in the playoff competitive. But really, when Bowman got there, that's when things started clicking. And like I said, I had 12 coaches, 10 years, 4 general managers. We took 3 team pictures a year. Too many new bodies. It just doesn't work. You know what I mean? So.
Fighting's part of hockey, and I think the fans love it. Do you have a favorite fight from your playing days? Somebody that you really like going at it with?
Well, I guess I consider myself a middleweight. I'm not. It was hard to fight when one thing, growing up in the States, I got into a few altercations in hockey, of course. In college, we had 5-minute majors like the pros, so we got into fights there. But in high school, I grew up in Minneapolis, and you're playing all kinds of sports, you're hanging out all kinds of places, and then, a few bar fights. But it's not like I hadn't been in some fights before. But it was always hard for when the coach taps you on the shoulder and says, "Go get this guy," which didn't happen very often, but it did. And I'm going, well, what did he do? You know what I mean? Like, he hasn't done anything yet, number one. And number two is, it's more of a reactionary fighter. And I was a middleweight, and I did fight against some heavyweights, and I was just thankful to get out of there without any major damage. You know what I mean? You showed up, and, so yeah, fighting was a big part of it. People loved watching it. It was excitement, intimidation. But yeah, and some of the tougher guys really didn't like to fight or didn't always fight, but when you made them fight, I think they shocked a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So, yep. But I should mention though that I was, I think, captain or assistant captain, and when Bob Probert and Joey Kosher broke in together, that was quite a year.
Bob Probert was a real tough guy.
Well, Joey Kosher and Bob Probert together, and we were on the road and playing against other players. They would look at the program before the game at like a menu, like who had the most penalty minutes on the other team, and that's who they would pick and go after. And it was pretty wild. I thought it was pretty wild, and they would kind of argue with each other that which guy they would get. And I said, hey, you guys, settle down. We got a game to play. They were trying to argue with each other which guy they wanted to take. So
you mentioned.
I think you remember.
Jeff, I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in for a second.
Go ahead.
Hackstall, Reed Larson's captain of the team of the Red Wings, rookie season, 77-78. Talking to Hackstall, he said Reed Larson never lost a fight. Second, he says his fights were boom, boom, take 5 seconds, 2 quick shots, and that was it. Third, in the book, that rookie season, November, the month of November. So you start the middle of October. So basically, you're just in your rookie season. It's your 3rd week through your 6th week, 7th week or so. 5 fights in 4 games, but almost each one is against because one game had 2 fights, against the team's fighter. So who's on the Penguins? Dave Schultz, Broad Street Bullies. He had that season with the Penguins. And actually, he has more penalty minutes per season records than Tiger Williams. So each one of those 4, Bob Nystrom, Mario Tremblay, Canadians down the line, Larson won all those. So there's an interesting story. Later, towards the end of the season, Hextall talks about it, that a guy kept bugging him, and when we looked it up, it was Willie Plett playing for the Atlanta Flames towards the end of the season, which was a good decisive game for the Red Wings because they hadn't been in the playoffs for 7 seasons in the 7th season. And their first round of the playoffs would be the Flames that they beat and went on to play the Canadiens the next round. So Larson in that game has 2 fights with the same player, Willie Plett, in the same game, in the same period, and within 8 minutes and 31 seconds. So if they're both serving that major for 5 minutes, it only leaves about 3 minutes left for that second fight. So Larry Robinson made a good point too, that no, Larson was not a quote unquote fighter, not the goon guy. He was very polished offensive defenseman, high end scorer, but he also defended. And as Kevin Lowe pointed out too, he was really, really recognized and appreciated that by players throughout the league, that yeah, he was a scorer and a high end scorer, but he defended well. And if somebody was provoking his teammates or somebody was provoking the game, he took care of business, kind of like Larry Robinson. Larry Robinson certainly went on a fighter and gooner, but boy, he messed with his teammates, and he took care of business.
Reed, I'm a big Bruins fan. I know you spent a couple of years here in Boston. Can you share a story that maybe you hadn't, that isn't in the book, just something that would interest me as a Bruin fan, that something that happened with one of your teammates or a guy that you really enjoyed playing as a teammate? Just share a Bruin story with me.
Yeah. You know, when I played the Bruins, and I really loved playing there, and some great guys. And Cam Neely was freshly traded over from Vancouver, and a young guy. You know, I don't know if he's 18 or 19, drafted by Vancouver. When he got to Boston, he still might have been 20 or 21, or pretty young. You know, and of course, after a big trade, you know, you're kind of new and it's frustrating. And I just remember, you know, when Ricky Middleton's a good friend, and you got the night the lights went off in the playoffs and we lost our home ice advantage. But Cam Neely and Mark Messier, these guys are power forwards. And Cam, I remember having a fight with Scott Kleindendorf. And usually when a guy gets in a fight and doesn't do well the first time around, he's kind of done. He doesn't go back at it. But Cam is I call him Mean Motor Scooter. He was a great player, but he's a big, strong, tough guy. But him and Scott Kleindendorf, who's from Grand Rapids, Minnesota, big, strong, tough guy, they got in a fight, and Scott kind of got Cam. And I remember Cam in the dressing room kind of just sitting there real silent, kind of just was a mad look on his face. And boy, the next period started, he went out and they went at it again, and he tagged Kleindendorf and knocked him pretty down silly. And I'm just saying, wow, this guy, you know, I've seen a lot of fights where, you know, one guy kind of takes it or wins and the other guy loses, and they, you know, not too often they go back at it. And it wasn't long before Cam, the next period started, he made a beeline, man. He said that one, he wasn't going to stay with that decision. He was going to write that decision, I should say. So I always thought, you know, and he was a great leader there, great player. And another player that, you know, didn't get a cup, that was probably a cup type player, you know. So
Yep.
And then Ricky Middleton, they called Nifty. You know, he had hands of silk. I'm going to see him in about 2 weeks, I think, Ricky Middleton in Detroit. There's a Detroit Red Wings Boston Bruins alumni game September 30th in Detroit. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun. But the night the lights went out in the playoffs, and then Cam Neely and Ricky Middleton, and then some of the old garden, some of the brawls in the old garden. My goodness, it's like the Roman Coliseum, I think.
With the locker
There's
rooms,
nowhere to hide there.
Were the locker rooms as bad as they say they were?
Yeah, they were. I hate to say it, but they were. They were bad. They were bad. But that balcony reminds me of the Detroit Olympia's balcony here, kind of out over the ice.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of cool. I think it's great seating. You know, great place to watch a game. But that rink there, I think more injuries happened there because the rink was so small. I think the bigger the rink, the less injuries. The smaller the rink, more injuries. It seems to be that way, you know.
Did you enjoy
Guys
playing
in Europe,
small?
you can
Did you
skate.
enjoy playing in smaller rinks like Buffalo and Boston, or did you like playing in the?
Yeah, I did
rink?
for shooting. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, for sure. The shooting becomes more effective, more physical, more upper body, more physical, I think, and less room. And it's kind of like you got regular pool and then you got bumper pool. You got a bank stuff. I mean, in a smaller rink, you really had to, a lot more bank your passes and a tighter area. Definitely noticeable in those two rinks, Buffalo and Boston. It definitely was noticeable.
Jeff, I know in the book we're talking about, of course, is The Shot. It's the Reed Larson hockey story that you wrote along with Reed. And Jeff, one of the things that surprises a lot of people when I talk about Reed is that he's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Writing the book, and you use a lot of statistics to help support his greatness, and I know you're bashful, Reed, and you don't like to hear that, but you had a great career. Do you think it's inevitable that Reed will get in the Hockey Hall of Fame, Jeff?
He should be there. He's worthy of it. One of the chapters in the book, chapter 9, is a discussion of that. And it's great to have this, Jeff, because the book just came out. It's available on Amazon Books. A lot of new, fresh information, especially for a lot of great hockey people. But back to the Hall of Fame, the discussion points out a number of offensive achievements and categories that he's way ahead of many, many players, offensive defensemen, that are in the Hockey Hall of Fame. So 2 categories out of probably 7 or 8 to highlight, but one, in fact, Kevin Lowe brought it up first to Reed and I, that in the all-time defense, so all-time defensemen, all players, most goals per game, Reed's number 5 all-time. So only behind Bobby Orr, Dennis Potvin, Paul Coffey, and Ray Bohr. Ahead of everybody else, Larry Robinson, Al McGinnis, Phil Housley, fill in the blank. And then second, very interesting, his first 9 years, rookie season plus the 8 years, the total goals of defense for that 9-year, he's number 1. Head of Larry Robinson, head of Potvin, head of Mark Howe, counting his 2 years in WHA during those first 2 years. So incredible achievements. And then getting down to the details of the last couple of classes of the Hockey Hall of Fame, the NHL players for the last 2 classes, including 2023, that'll have their induction here in November, there is 0 for 4, both those classes for any defenseman. So 0 for 8, the last 2 defensemen. So I think this is the year. This is it. Maybe there'll be one defenseman more recently that played maybe 20, 30 years ago or somewhere in there. And there'll be Reed Larson from his era. So that would be a great achievement and very, very well deserved.
I agree. Fingers crossed for you, Reed. Reed, you and Rick Middleton. I love to see both of you guys get in. I think you're more than deserving, and it was great. It's great to talk to you about your career and playing hockey. Reed, just a couple more questions, and I'll let you go. I know we're going over time, but I really enjoy our talk. Did you enjoy being captain of the Red Wings? Was that something that you were striving for when they asked you to be captain, or what was that like?
Well, it was an honor, of course, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I probably would have stayed captain for quite a while, I think, but we got new management and new coach, and I think the new coach, Wayne Maxner from Windsor, I don't know, I think he traded 5 of our first-round draft picks away, and none of them were even 25 years old yet. And I love Danny Gare and Jim Schoenfeld and the guys they traded for, great guys, love them, but at that time, we were just kind of getting going in a young team, and it just was you can argue good or bad, and even these guys, Danny Gare, I think, made captain, and Schoenfeld, which were, I have no problem with whatsoever, but that's kind of, there's some things happen that are just out of your control, and like I said, and there's some guys that probably got, a chance to coach in NHL that probably shouldn't have. But anyway,
Yep.
It's just my opinion, I guess, but things happen, and we're not the only, Toronto and and Detroit have gone through long periods of, and Toronto still, I guess, drought, as far as cups go.
I know
And
they're
when
they're
Bowman,
cursed.
like you said, yeah,
Jeff,
it's tough.
I'm going to
there.
jump in. Jim Rutherford, who had been in the league playing for 8 years when Reed came his rookie season, and he played with Reed on the Red Wings for 7 years. He said when Reed arrived, he was our true leader, our true captain for all those years. As a 20, 21-year-old rookie, he just connected what Rutherford talked about. He connected with every teammate. He stood up for every teammate, and he made a difference. They went from the worst record in hockey, 41 points. They moved up 30-some points, 41 points, moved up 30-some points to 78 points, second place to the Canadians in that division. Huge change rookie season. But here's the words of a veteran. He arrives in the locker room, and those were his words. He was our leader. He was our captain, whether officially or not, throughout my entire time with the Red Wings. A great quote from Jim Rutherford, who went in the Hockey Hall of Fame 2-3 years ago as the builder because of all his work with the Hurricanes, with the Cup, Penguins, and of course, way back when he left the Red Wings, Copyware, and all those great players that came out of that junior system. But great words of leadership on Reed Larson.
Reed, when Jeff approached you to write the book, what surprised you most after after you've gone through the whole process? Was there something that you weren't expecting
Well,
from it?
Yeah, it's true. I wasn't expecting it, and I think I said something like, "Well, it's not like I'm Gretzky or Lemieux or Michael Jordan, Tom Brady thing. You write books about people. It's usually won several championships and whatever. But I just hope it helps maybe some young hockey player. I think Jeff made me look at it in a different light, different way. And I really appreciate when he brought in all these other players' insight, opinions, statistics. I think he did a good job of respecting the other players' accomplishments and what they've done, not just for me. And for our area, the Midwest, Minnesota, American hockey players, the East Coast. I mean, I love Joey Mullen and Brian Leach, and I mean, go on and on and on. There's a lot of great players out there, and I got to play with some of them in some of the Canada Cups or USA teams and so forth. But it turned out where I just hope it helps some young players and gives some other people some stats or some interest. That there's a lot of people, like you say, the people that send autographs for cards every week or whatever. They definitely, there's people that really study the game and want to know the history, and I think it's fun to hear about. So it covers a lot of nice points. I mean, I think, and again, obviously there's a lot of great players, and anytime somebody can read about other players and accomplishments, and then bring in like Minnesota and Americans too, I can't hurt, I guess. You know what I mean? Kind of get you through the winter.
He has an extraordinary story that hockey people love to read. It's a great story.
I agree. Guys, the book is The Shot, the Reed Larson hockey story. It's by Reed Larson and Jeff Olson. Make sure you check it out. It is available on Amazon, correct, Jeff?
Yes, Amazon Books just came out, so fun to connect with hockey people. Here we are, a little more than a week from preseason start.
Yeah, and Reed, you'll sign the book if someone sends it to you in the mail, right?
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate your time, Reed. It was great to learn more about your career, Jeff. The book is fabulous. You guys, the one thing I can say, Jeff, is you did your homework, because there is more statistics and more stories and comments from former players, and it's not just opinion. It's a really, really fun book, and if, as Reed says, it's really great for the young hockey player. So there's some training tips in there talking about Reed's shot, and it's a fun hockey book, right? Right, Jeff?
That's right. Hockey book, hockey season. Let's go.
All right, Reed, thank you. I wish you the best of luck. Please tell Rick that Rick Milton, I said hello. I've had him on the show before. And
Okay.
he's a great guy, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Will do.
Thanks, Jeff.
Nifty.
Bye-bye.
I'll tell Nifty. Thanks.
All right.
Thank
Thank you, guys. Do any of you list your cards for sale on eBay? I've recently signed up with the software by the name of Card Dealer Pro. They take pictures of your sports and trading cards and use artificial intelligence to write the title, description, and upload to eBay. Now I've gone from the ability to list 10 to 20 cards to 200 to 300 plus with the help of Card Dealer Pro. Go to www.carddealerpro.com to try their software completely free for 7 days and get 500 bonus skins by using the promo code TTM500 during signup. Once again, that's TTM500. Use it at signup and get 500 additional bonus scans at www.carddealerpro to list your cards with AI today. So, Drew, when I was talking to Jeff and setting the interview up, he's like, Reed doesn't really like to talk about himself. He doesn't want to promote himself. He's very humble about his accomplishments, and that comes across in our interview. He always wants to give credit to his teammates and to people, you know, that Herb Brooks is one of his coaches and his mentors, and he's very humble about it. But he's still you can see he's proud of his accomplishments. You know, he had a pretty good career in the NHL, and you know, for a kid from Minnesota to go and score over 200 goals and play, I think he played in like 900 games in the NHL. It's pretty good. It's in the book is interesting. It's a good book. So guys, if you want to win a copy of Reed's book, send me your name and your mailing address. Put Reed Larson in the subject line and send it to
TTMcast@yahoo.com.
And we'll give away those copies of the books on next week's show. All right, Nick, on Saturday's show.
Yep.
All right.
Before we go on real quick, I looked it up on here real quick, and Larson, when he retired, was either first or second among American-born defensemen in goals. He's now fifth all time. He's been passed by a few guys since then, but still, that's, I mean, top five for something like that is a real nice accomplishment.
Yeah, and he had a great shot. He really had a really hard shot, if I remember him as a player. And he was he was captain of the Red Wings when he was with the Red Wings, and he just never won a cup. He played on those Red Wings teams that weren't very good. And he made the finals with one of the Bruins teams, I think in '86, maybe right around there.
Yeah. And
then he went to Edmonton, and he never played on that great team. You know, he never had that core around him. So, but I think he's a Hall of Famer, don't you?
I'd say, I mean, he's at least, he deserves consideration for sure. I don't know if I would say absolutely yes, he belongs in, but he should definitely be looked at a lot more than he is.
Yeah, I agree. So I know that they're I think he's going to be considered in the next two ballots. They were saying in the interview. So I hope he gets in, because I think he deserves it. I remember him as being a pretty good player, and when he played 2.5 years with the Bruins, he was always I love those offensive defensemen, you know.
Yeah.
So it was he was the kind of player that the Bruins like, and he was good with the Bruins, and I remember and the Red Wings as well. He was a great player. So please check out. You can buy Reed's book at Amazon.com. It's called The Shot: The Reed Larson Hockey Story, or you can register to try to win 2 copies that we're going to give away next week. So that wraps up Collector's Corner. Next up, we'll go right into Making the Grade.
Making the Grade is sponsored by Certified Sports Guarantee. Go to csgcards.com for sports card grading for the win.
It's football season. There's no better time to get your NFL stars, rookies, and veteran cards graded. CGC Cards offers fast turnaround times, so you get your cards back even faster. They have crystal clear holders, so your cards shine. And best yet, all starting at just $12 a card. Head to cgccards.com to start grading your cards today.
Making the Grade is a summary of what's been going on in the grading community, and we have some numbers to report, Drew.
Yes, we do. We've got the first full week of September. Things down a little bit because of the Labor Day holiday, a hurricane blowing through near Florida there, but still looking good on everything. PSA, everybody down about a quarter here this week. PSA 23% drop to 214,700 cards that got graded during the week. SGC, a 24% drop, 21,500 cards getting slabbed. Beckett, the biggest drop of them all, 28% drop to 12,000 cards that they got done. CGC, a 24% drop to 21,000 cards. So everybody down almost exactly the same amount. Kind of interesting there that all of them dropped almost exactly a quarter there, but things still looking good there on the grading numbers.
Very good. Thank you. And where do we get our grade numbers from, Drew?
That is courtesy of gemrate.com.
That's right. GemRate provides our big three as well. So we're going to do the big three next.
This week's Big Three is brought to you by gemrate.com. Whose cards are hot and whose cards are cold this week? Let's find out from our friends at gemrate.com.
We get the these are exclusive numbers from our friends at GemRate, and we look at the three biggest risers and fallers, and we still haven't come up with a good way to describe that, Drew. We've tried. We keep trying, but we just can't. We haven't come up with it. But these are the guys that whose percentage have increased over the previous week, and with the four grading companies. And we have Anthony Richardson. He was up 86%, and he looks pretty good.
Yeah,
he looks good. I think he's the real thing. And then Junior Caminero. Caminero. Did I get it right?
Caminero, I think, something like that. Yeah.
Caminero. Okay, Junior Caminero. He was up 65%. He's the Tampa Bay Rays prospect. He was up 65%. And Yogi Berra, which is great to see some vintage in there. He was up 47%. Junior Cabanero's 2023 Bowman Chrome prospect card was up 222% over the previous week, I mean. And conversely, he was the only non-Atani, De La Cruz, or Wembanaya in the top 10. So he snuck himself in there, and he hasn't been called up yet, right? I don't think he's been called up yet.
I don't think so. I haven't been paying super close attention to Tampa Bay at all, but yeah, I don't think he has.
Well, anyway, those are the three risers. Drew, what are the three fallers?
The three, when it comes to who's hot and who's not, I figure that's a little bit too hackneyed, but we'll go with it here.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone uses that, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah. So the ones that are not, that would be Lamar Jackson, a 32% drop there. A little bit of a surprise there. I mean, this is a guy that's...
Man, NFL just started.
We're just starting the season. He's got a nice big new contract and everything there. So, yeah, I don't know why he's dropping there, but a 32% drop in his stuff. Hockey season, Cole Caulfield is down 46%. Hockey season just about to get started, and a little drop for him to start things out. And Bobby Witt Jr., who, I mean, he's among the league leaders in hits, so I don't know why exactly he's got the drop here at all, but I guess, baseball season's coming to an end. Kansas City, not exactly the greatest season, but he had a 51% drop in his cards getting graded this week.
Well, thank you, Drew, and I want to thank our friends at GemRate for providing those exclusive statistics. That wraps up making the grade, Drew.
Yes.
Next up is TTMCast Stamp of Approval.
I bet you're wondering who earned this week's TTMcast Stamp of Approval.
Drew, why don't you do yours, since yours is is top of the mind for you, and you're getting the cobwebs out, and you can talk a little about this great show again.
Yeah, so I mentioned before that I was going to bring up another piece of the show in my stamp of approval, and I had mentioned that Eddie Vedder was coming off the flu and still battling it a little bit there on Wednesday night. They actually had to have a little bit of a break in the middle where what's his name, Mike McCready, the lead guitarist, went and played Eddie Van Halen's Eruption just to, kind of take up some time and let Eddie catch his breath and settle his voice down a little bit there after dealing with all the flu stuff. But I also mentioned that Matt Cameron, the drummer, was out out with COVID, and he was not over it yet. So they had to bring in Josh Klinghoffer to play the drums. So my stamp of approval for the week is Josh Klinghoffer, because this guy is an absolutely amazing musician. He's actually a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He was their guitarist in the 2010s or thereabouts when the Peppers got inducted into the Hall of Fame, as John Frusciante had taken a break from the band and everything. And so he was taking Frusciante's place and killing it as the Red Hot Chili Peppers lead guitarist. But Pearl Jam brought him in when they did the album Gigaton in 2020 to help flesh out their live sound a little bit there, because a lot of the Gigaton stuff had a lot more complicated arrangements to them. So Klinghoffer is brought in to add some extra guitar onto stuff, to add some extra keyboards. He could handle bass if necessary. He could handle drums if necessary, and actually stood in on drums for Cameron previously when Cameron was out with COVID once before. And so that's when Eddie said, yeah, we're going to have to do these shows a little bit differently, but the choice was either do them differently or not do them at all. And I think most of you out there would prefer that we just do the show differently. And that got a big reaction from the crowd, like, yeah, definitely we would. And he absolutely killed it on the drums there in Matt Cameron's place. I mean, there was only like one song where the rest of the band kind of laughed, where he kind of screwed up a little bit. But I mean, when you're going in there playing 27 songs and you only screw up one of them, that is pretty damn good if you're not the regular drummer there. So, yeah, I mean, he filled in absolutely incredibly. So my TTMcast stamp of approval goes to the great Josh Klinghoffer, former member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, current member of Pearl Jam, and just all around freaking awesome musician.
And Drew, drummers is really important because they keep the pace of the show and they keep the pace of the band, and they're the ones that kind of everyone feeds off of, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're the for me personally, it's the easiest instrument to play out of any band, but you're also kind of the most needed there because, yeah, you're keeping everything on pace and everything. So it's you're definitely very important, even if, I mean, you only have to focus on rhythm and don't have to worry about melody, which is part of why it makes it a little bit easier, and why, for me at least, and why I definitely like drums a little bit more than anything else.
I mean, it's kind of like the center in football, right? I mean, if if you're the center in football and you can't hike the ball and you can't, you're screwing up with the quarterback, it screws the whole team up. And I think that's the same thing with the drummer, right? The drummer, if the drummer isn't there and isn't on, the whole band can just be off and sound horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think center is a great comparison there, because what's the center do? First thing he has to know is the snap count. He has to go up there and figure out, okay, where's the rush coming from? What other kind of stuff to look out for in the defense there, and then get the damn thing started right, and then provide the protection there. And that's, yeah, I think that's a good one. I like that.
Very cool. Well, thanks, Drew. My stamp of approval is I got a couple of Score blaster boxes I got them at Barnes and Noble. I think that's where I found them, and I think they were $25 a piece, and it was good. My first box, I did not get any autographs, but I did get an autograph in my second box, which isn't bad. And then I got all the guys I wanted, so to speak. You know what I mean? I think there's about 130 cards in the box, which is nice. Score's a low end product, right? In terms of it's not like Mosaic or Prism or any of those, but I like them. They're nice, clean cards, nice, clean looking cards. And the only bad part is I only got 2 Patriots, and in 2 boxes I only got 2 Patriots cards.
Jeez.
So I got Mac Jones, and I got Stevenson, the running back. But that's it. But I did get one autograph. It was some guy that I never heard of. That always happens, right? You never get the Ezekiel Elliott autograph. You always get some 4th round draft pick that you never heard of. But it's okay. So, but anyway,
it's like last year I picked up those select draft picks. I ended up getting, I think it was Pierre Strong in there, which, I mean, former Patriot, now current Brown. So it's like, hey, sometimes those things pan out eventually.
Yeah, you never know. Well, my stamp of approval is going to go to Score football cards. They are what they are, but they're nice looking cards, and it's fun to rip packs, right? It's fun to rip packs where you can, they have all cool insert cards in there. So I'm going to give my stamp of approval to Score football. I get them every year, and they never disappoint. They deliver what they are, and they're kind of nice cards. So that is my stamp of approval. It's not a lukewarm stamp of approval. It is a true stamp of approval. Okay, Drew?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps up stamp of approval, Drew. Next up is the Vern Rapp Minute. You want to do the Vern Rapp Minute intro since I've been so sucky today?
All right, I can take it. The Vern Rapp Minute is dedicated to the memory of Mr. Vern Rapp, former Major League, I believe, player and manager. I know he's at least a manager there for quite a while. But Jeff sent out a request to him, not knowing that he had already passed away. And so we provide this service to everybody out there to let you know that let you know of any deaths in the world of sports, celebrity, music, movies, politics, so that you don't end up like us and actually send off to somebody who has already died. So we try to keep on top of all that, and so you can learn from our failures.
Thank you, Drew. Very, very nicely done. Not many people passed away this week, which is nice. I always like when there's not a lot of Vern Rapp content, but we do have a couple of people. We lost Brandon Hunter. Brandon Hunter was played at Ohio University in college. He played for the Celtics for 1 year and the Magic for 1 year, 2003, 2004. He was a pretty good. He has a lot of records at Ohio University. He was a great college player, and he had a cup of coffee in the NBA. He played, I know he played 36 games with the Celtics, and then he played in 4 playoff games with them, and he played for a full season with the Magic. He does not do TTMs. He did not do any TTMs. Brandon Hunter was only 42 years old.
We lost Roy Kidd this week. He is a Hall of Fame college basketball coach. The 6th winningest coach.
Was he football?
Yeah, was it football? Oh, football. Okay. Hall of Fame college football coach. But as the 6th winningest coach of all time, was at Eastern Kentucky, has over 300 wins and 2 championships. His last TTM was in 2013. Roy Kidd was 91 years old.
All right, now you got me guessing, Drew. I don't remember if he was a basketball coach or a football coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would think 300 wins. That's got.
Yeah, I think he's a basketball coach.
I don't know. Either way, he was a Hall of Fame college coach in
just off
sports.
We're just off today. We're just off today. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing. I'm sorry. One other person we lost today, we lost Mike this week. We lost Mike Williams. Mike Williams scored 11 touchdowns with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in his rookie season of 2010. He went to Syracuse. He played from 2010 to 2012. He also played a few games with the Bills at the end of his career. He played 63 NFL games, 26 TDs he scored. He was not a TTMer. He passed away. He was 36. It was a construction accident, and a steel beam hit him and ultimately killed him. So very sad. So Drew, as I said, we only had a couple of people this week in our Vern Rapp Minute, and that wraps up the Vern Rapp Minute. We are sorry for your loss. Condolences out to everyone, and I'm going to apologize to the listeners because that was not my best Vern Rapp Minute either.
Yeah, we were off a bit, but it's par for the course today. We'll fix it up next week, I'm sure.
I know. Thanks for just hit fast forward, I guess. I'm sorry. All right. That wraps up our Vern Rapp Minute. Let's do some TTM returns, Drew.
Yes.
Was our mailbox full this week? Let's take a look at this week's TTM returns.
All right, I'll do mine first, then you can do yours, all right? Because you had 3 and I had 5 or 6. So I got Paul Gardner, who played for the Rockies, right? Colorado Rockies, is a center, and I got him on 2 cards, and it took a while. This was probably like a 6-month turnaround to get that one back, but he signed both my cards. Very happy with that. I got a return from Dave Bing. Dave Bing was must have been listening to me this week because he signed. I sent a picture of him and me at the Naples All-Star event that I had got, and I sent it out to him and put it in a holder, plastic holder. And you know what? He signed my plastic holder.
Oh.
So my wife said, Dave Bing is old. What if you want to send it back to him, I'm sure he'll sign it. So I don't know if I haven't decided if I want to sign it back or just keep it as a conversation piece, but he did sign my plastic holder and didn't take my picture out, but it was, I'll say that's a successful return, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you got the autograph, even if it wasn't exactly on the item that you were hoping.
Right, and it happens. That happens every once in a while. I got Steve Zabel, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Patriots, on his 73 Topps card, and that took about, 4 or 5 weeks to come back. I got Jeff Sellers, former pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. He signed his scorecard. I think it was 1990, 1991 scorecard. I got that back in a couple of weeks. I got Johnny Grubb. I had gotten forward for Johnny Grubb, so I talked about the other 2 last week, and I got 2 more from Johnny Grubb on his 83 Topps card and his 88 Topps card. So that was kind of cool to get Johnny Grubb. I was always a big Johnny Grubb fan back in the day. He's one of the Ranger guys that shows up all the time, right?
He hasn't done any alumni stuff at all, but he's always been very accessible by mail, at least.
Yeah. And lastly, I got Gary Dunn, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, on his 1983 Topps card, and that took a couple weeks. So those are my returns. I actually sent out 10 yesterday, so all 86 Topps football. So I sent out 1086 top football, and I think I'm going to do some hockey next week to get some hockey ones out there. So that wraps up my returns. How was your week, Drew?
Well, I got 3 of them back, so gradually increasing a little bit every week here. So I'm going to go in reverse order. So yesterday I got Ray Ferraro back. I sent to him up in Canada through TSN. Sent that back on April 3rd. Got it back this week. He signed all 4 that I sent, including a set card right there that's from the 88-89 top set. So adding on 1 from there. Let's see. Also,
he's an Oiler there, right? That was a Whaler there, right?
Yeah. Hartford Whalers there on that one.
I love getting Whaler cards.
Definitely. We also got on Tuesday Tony Tanti. Tony Tanti played for the Canucks, the Penguins, and the Buffalo Sabres across his career. I set this out on July 6th through the Canucks alumni. He signed all 4 cards I had, including another 88-89 tops right there.
Don't tell Dave Schneider who's going to want that one.
Yep. I actually did get a Sabres card signed of him too, so I've got that in there. And then who's the last one was a football one. This one I mailed out on March 25th of 2022, so over a year and a half that took to get back to me. And that is from Carl Banks, former linebacker of the Giants, the Browns, and the Patriots. And I sent to him because I found that I had a couple Browns cards in them, so I'm like, hey, I might as well send these off to him. And a year and a half later, they finally came back, and you can see one right there.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, he signed all 4 cards.
I didn't realize he played for the Browns. I always figure I think of him as a Giant, you know.
Yeah, well, he was a Belichick guy, so that's why. I mean, Belichick was his defensive coordinator with the Giants. When he went, I think he went to actually to the Redskins first, and then when after he finished with the Redskins, he went to the Browns then for about, I think, 2 years at the end of Belichick's tenure there. But that's when they brought in Banks, they brought in Pepper Johnson. Yeah. They brought in a whole bunch of former Giants on that team. They were trying to get Phil Simms to be the backup quarterback at one point, but he opted to retire instead. But yeah, he was but yeah, Banks, he signs through his, I think it's the radio station that he works at is where I sent it to. But yeah, found 2 Browns cards, 2 Giants cards. Like, yeah, we'll go ahead and fire these off. And
nice.
A year and a half later, they finally got back to me. So pretty happy with that. And so, yeah, 3 in this week, couple set hits, and 1 for the Browns collection.
Speaking of the Browns, I got to ask you, do you like that little sprite guy they have as the logo?
I'm not opposed to it. I like it as like a third logo. It's, classic thing from the 50s that they used for the logo there. I'm glad they only use it like on the field and not like all over the jersey or helmet or anything like that. So I think
that wouldn't look good on the helmet, would it?
Right. Yeah. So I think they use it. They use it well. I'll put it that way. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It was when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. It's actually similar to the St. Louis Browns logo. They had the brownie elf there back in the 1940s and 50s as well.
Was that did they use that in the 50s? Is that something they used in the 50s and then they brought back?
Yeah, they I think it was a big thing. Like, yeah, I think it was the original AAFC team. I think used it a bit. I think it actually was on the helmet at one point. The players were just like, "No, we're not doing this," and took it off the helmet. So that's why they stuck with the orange helmet ever since. But yeah, they've been using it for quite a while, just kind of on and off at times.
Did you get any returns out this week? Did you send any?
Nope, I've got a stack of them. I'm going to hopefully write today or tomorrow, though. I've also got to set my new computer up there, but I've got a few to write too. So I'll get around to some of this at some point, I hope. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on here because, I mean, like I said, setting up this new computer. My wife's birthday was on Thursday, so we're going out with friends on Friday or on Saturday and on Sunday both. So if I can find some time to crank out 5 requests real quick, I will. But she's sitting there shaking her head like, you're not going to have time. Like,
not this week.
Yeah, you're probably right. I probably will not. But I'll get them out sometime soon. Maybe Monday if I have to. I don't know. I'll figure something out. Yeah, she's giving a thumbs up to that. So there you go.
All right, bud. Well, thank you for that. Closes out returns. We both did okay weeks. I would say we get solid B's. How about that for returns this week?
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, that's you average about 1 a day. I average 1 every 2 days. That's decent for how things have been going.
All right, well, Drew, let's put a bow on this thing and wrap it up and put this thing to bed because if a show ever desired to be put to bed, deserves to be put to bed, it's this one.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to thank everyone for hanging in there with us. We are sorry. We are sorry. I'm just going to apologize for Drew on behalf of Drew. We are sorry.
Yes.
First, we want to thank Les Wolff. Obviously, Les Wolff, we love having him. Thank you, Les. We want to thank Reed Larson and Jeff Olson. Remember, if you want to win a copy of Reed Larson's new book, it's called The Shot, The Reed Larson Hockey Story. I'm going to give away 2 copies. We'll give those away on next Saturday's show. We need your name and your mailing address. Make sure name and mailing address. Put Reed Larson in the subject line and send it to
TTMcast at yahoo.com.
Yeah, see, we still have it, Drew. We're closing out strong.
It's
really
like a former
strong.
bandmate of mine once. We had a good start, we had a good end, and there was stuff in the middle. So there you go.
Yeah, there was stuff in the middle this week. All right, guys, register to win a copy of Reed Larson's book. Also, we are giving away 2 card cradles. We want to win a card cradle, same deal, name and mailing address, and put card cradle in the subject line, and you can send that to the same email address, which is
TTMcast at yahoo.com.
all right, that is it. I want to first, on this Wednesday coming up, we have Alan Lewis, who is a great collector, Wade Boggs guy and a Red Sox guy. He is a North Carolina guy. He has the best North Carolina drawl. I love it. It's a fun interview, so that will be on Wednesday. We have all sorts of fun stuff coming. I have 4 interviews scheduled this week, so we'll have all sorts of cool interviews coming up for you. Drew, anything else before I let you go mercifully put the show to bed?
I think we're good. We'll just end it right at that.
All right, guys. Saturday we'll have Jeff Owens from Sports Collectors Daily. He is the editor. We're going to talk to him. It's their anniversary. We're going to talk to him about that. And we will have Les Wolff back. Also, guys, if you have anything that you want Les to do appraisals on, we're gonna do that in a couple of weeks. So if you have something that you'd like Les to do an appraisal on, either value or authenticity, please send it to us. Send it to me at send it to us at
TTMcast at yahoo.com.
He's just shaking his head. I can't believe this. I'm still working with this guy. It's just a train wreck.
Yep.
All right. Many happy returns, everyone. We will see you on Wednesday. Be good. Thanks for sticking around with us.